Success doesn't come from wishful thinking. It's built through mindset, effort, and the decisions you make every single day. What separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't isn't luck. It's the way they think. It's how they view challenges, how they handle setbacks, and how they keep pushing forward, even when the road gets tough. In this audiobook, we're going to talk about how to develop the mindset that leads to success. I'll show you practical, actionable steps you can take right now to start thinking like a winner. This isn't just about positive thinking. It's about adopting the habits, attitudes, and strategies that will move you forward day by day. We'll dive into how to handle obstacles, how to focus on what really matters, and how to use your thoughts and actions to create the life you want. Stay with me as we explore how to build a mindset that supports your goals. I promise, by the end of this video, you'll have the tools and the confidence to make a real change. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Commit to daily habits that propel your growth forward. Success doesn't happen by accident. It's not a result of luck or random circumstances. It's built through deliberate choices and disciplined actions, repeated every single day. The people who rise in life, who break barriers and shape the direction of their future, aren't waiting for the perfect opportunity. They are creating their own opportunities through small habits they commit to daily. That's the secret most people ignore. Success is not about doing one big thing right. It's about doing the right things repeatedly until they shape you into someone who naturally succeeds. Every day is a brick. What you do today becomes part of the structure of your life. If you waste the day, you weaken the foundation. If you use the day well, you strengthen it. You don't have to build the whole structure in one day, but you must place a brick with care and intention. That's what daily habits are. Bricks of self-respect, growth, and discipline. Growth happens in silence and simplicity. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's not about public victories or external applause. It's about the small things you do when no one is watching. Waking up early to train your mind before the world demands your attention. Choosing to read instead of scroll. Writing down your goals instead of drifting aimlessly. These choices aren't glamorous, but they are powerful. They shape the person you become. Daily habits give you structure. They anchor you when life feels chaotic. They help you stay centered when emotions pull you in different directions. When you build a few key habits and follow through on them daily, you gain something rare: internal control. You stop reacting to life and start creating life. You stop being a product of your circumstances and become a product of your standards. It's easy to feel motivated when you're inspired by a goal, but inspiration fades. Habits stay. Motivation is like a spark. It can start a fire, but it won't keep it burning. What keeps the fire alive is your system, your routine, your ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. That's where success is truly born, in the days when you show up tired, uncertain, or frustrated, but you show up anyway. You don't need to do everything at once. Start small. Choose one habit that will move your life forward and commit to it fully. It could be waking up an hour earlier, writing down your top 3 priorities each morning, doing a short daily workout, or setting a timer to read 10 pages of a meaningful book. Don't underestimate the power of consistency. A small action done daily beats a big action done once. Most people fail not because they lack intelligence or potential, but because they give up on the basics. They try something new, feel a little resistance, and then quit. Success comes to the person who keeps showing up, who honors their word to themselves, who doesn't break promises when no one is watching. The world doesn't reward intentions, it rewards execution. The moment you choose a habit and follow through on it, you start creating proof. You prove to yourself that you can be counted on. That builds confidence. That builds discipline. And the more you follow through, the more you trust yourself. Over time, this becomes your identity. You start seeing yourself as someone who keeps going, who doesn't negotiate with excuses, who stays committed even when it's inconvenient. One of the biggest shifts in life happens when you realize that discipline isn't punishment. It's self-respect. When you make a plan and follow it, even in small ways, you're telling yourself that your life matters, that your goals deserve effort, that you're not here to coast, you're here to grow. The reason habits are so transformative is because they remove decision fatigue. Instead of waking up and wondering what you should do, your habits already decide for you. You're not relying on how you feel in the moment. You're relying on the system you've built. This is where real power comes from, not from relying on emotion, but from relying on structure. If you want to build a life you're proud of, you must respect the power of repetition. The human brain adapts to whatever it's exposed to consistently. Feed it chaos and it becomes anxious. Feed it order and it becomes calm. Feed it discipline and it becomes sharp. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to introduce a few key behaviors and repeat them until they become second nature. Start with awareness. What habits are currently shaping your life? Are they helping you become the person you want to be, or are they keeping you stuck? Most people never stop to ask themselves this. They live on autopilot, running the same routines day after day, without questioning where those routines are taking them. But change begins with awareness. You can't fix what you don't face. Once you know what's holding you back, replace it with something better. Don't just try to stop a bad habit, start a better one. If you scroll on your phone every morning, replace that time with writing down your goals. If you procrastinate on your work, replace that with setting a timer and starting small. Every negative habit has a positive opposite. Find it, practice it, commit to it daily. The truth is, nothing works unless you do. There's no shortcut. There's no magic solution, but there is a process. And if you honor that process every day, you will get better. Maybe not dramatically at first, maybe not in a way others notice, but over time the results become undeniable. Your thinking sharpens, your energy rises, your confidence grows, your goals stop being dreams and start becoming plans. Daily habits also protect you from emotional volatility. When you're disciplined, you don't need to rely on motivation to act. You don't let your feelings run the day. You already know what needs to be done, and you do it regardless of how you feel. This gives you stability. It gives you control. And in a world that constantly changes, internal control is one of the most valuable assets you can have. People often overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can achieve in a year. If you build the right habits and stay consistent, you will look back after 12 months and barely recognize who you were. You'll be more focused, more resilient, more grounded. That's not luck. That's not chance. That's the reward of doing the right things daily. There will be days when you don't feel like it. Days when the excuses feel louder than the purpose. That's when it matters most. Show up anyway. Take action anyway. Even if it's small, even if it's imperfect, the only way to lose is to stop. If you keep moving forward even slowly, you are winning. You are improving. You are building momentum that will carry you through the hard seasons. This is how strong people are built. Not through hype. Not through hype. But through habits. Through discipline. through simple repeated actions done with intention and commitment. This is how you turn a chaotic life into a focused one. This is how you take control of your time, your energy, your direction. Don't wait until you feel ready. Readiness is a myth. What matters is your willingness to start. Pick one habit today and do it. Just one. Then do it again tomorrow. Stack it on top of another one and another. Over time, your life becomes a reflection of these habits. You don't need a perfect plan. You need daily execution. There is something powerful that happens when you become a person of action. You stop second-guessing. You stop making excuses. You stop talking about what you're going to do and start doing it. Action builds identity. Identity builds confidence. Confidence builds more action. And soon you become unstoppable. Not because you're the most talented, but because you're the most consistent. You owe it to yourself to build habits that serve your future. Not habits that numb your pain or distract your mind, but habits that challenge you to rise. Habits that make you stronger, sharper, more focused. Habits that build a life of meaning, not regret. The world is full of distractions, quick fixes, and shallow promises. Don't fall for them. Anchor yourself in the basics. Wake up early. Move your body. Write down your goals. Eliminate what wastes your time. Work with intensity. Reflect with honesty. Rest with purpose. Repeat these behaviors until they become a part of you. That's how a mindset of success is born, one disciplined action at a time. No one is going to build your life for you. That's your job. And the most powerful way to do that is to build your days with care. Win the day, and you win the week. Win the week, and you win the month. Win the month, and you win the year. That's the rhythm of transformation. That's the pace of mastery. Don't underestimate the impact of one disciplined day. That's how it all begins. One good day repeated becomes a good week. A good week repeated becomes a solid month. Over time, your entire life is shaped. And the best part, you control it. You have the power to direct your focus, to shape your environment, to commit to the process. There's no need to wait for the perfect time. This is the time, right now. Not tomorrow, not someday. Your future is being built today. One action, one decision, one habit at a time. The only thing standing between who you are and who you could be is what you choose to do daily. So choose wisely. Choose habits that respect your goals. Choose habits that build your mind. Choose habits that strengthen your spirit. Choose habits that align with the person you want to become. Then commit to them without exception. Not just when it's easy, especially when it's hard. This is the path to success. It's not complicated, but it is demanding. It requires clarity, effort, and consistency. But if you walk it with commitment, the results will speak for themselves. You won't have to chase success. Success will become a natural result of who you've become. This is your life. Build it with intention. Shape it with discipline. Fuel it with habits that move you forward. That's how you develop the success mindset that changes everything. Not through big promises or temporary inspiration, but through small, meaningful actions that you commit to every single day. Chapter 2. Break down your goals into manageable daily actions. You will never achieve anything extraordinary if your goals remain nothing more than ideas floating in your head. You can dream for years, you can visualize endlessly, and you can read every success book in the world, but unless you learn how to break those dreams down into daily, actionable steps, they will stay dreams forever. Success is not built in a single moment. It's constructed piece by piece, decision by decision, action by action, day by day. And those who master this simple truth, those who learn how to divide the impossible into bite-sized steps, are the ones who quietly rise while others remain stuck in the fantasy of someday. The real reason most people never hit their goals is not because they lack ambition or talent. It's because they don't know how to bridge the gap between their vision and their behavior. They want the result, but their days don't reflect that desire. They say they want to change their life, but their routines are the same. They set massive goals, then feel overwhelmed and paralyzed by the size of them. So they procrastinate, they avoid, they wait, they hope. But success doesn't respond to hope. It responds to structure. It obeys action. It shows up for those who do the work, not all at once, but in disciplined doses over time. If you want a breakthrough in your life, you don't need to start with a revolution. You need to start with a small, clear, and intentional step today, and then repeat that step tomorrow, and the day after that. This is the truth most people overlook. Progress is not a sprint, it's a consistent rhythm. The people who win are not necessarily faster or smarter, they're simply the ones who move forward steadily. They know what matters each day, and they do it. That's how momentum is created. That's how goals become reality, through small steps that compound with time and intention. So many people spend years waiting for motivation to strike before they begin. But motivation is fickle. It comes and goes. The real transformation begins when you stop relying on emotion and start relying on structure. When you build a system around your goals, you no longer depend on feeling inspired. You just follow the process. You take the next step, no matter how small, because you've already decided who you want to become. You don't need to feel like doing it. You just need to know it's part of your path. That's discipline. That's growth. That's how the invisible becomes visible. Start by being honest about what you want, not what sounds good to other people, not what impresses strangers. What do you truly want for your life? What's the vision that keeps calling you even when you try to silence it? Don't shrink it. Don't water it down. Own it fully. Then reverse engineer it. What would have to happen in the next 12 months to bring you closer to that goal? What would have to happen in the next 90 days? The next 30 days? The next 7 days? What action can you take today, before the day ends, to take one step toward that vision? The more clearly you define the steps, the more likely you are to take them. Ambiguity kills execution. Clarity fuels it. Here's what changes everything. Break the big into the small, and the small into the automatic. Don't just say you want to get fit. What does that mean today? Maybe it means doing 30 minutes of movement before work. Maybe it means drinking water instead of soda. Maybe it means preparing a healthy lunch instead of grabbing fast food. These things seem small, but they build identity. They signal to your mind that you're no longer the person who waits, you're the person who moves. And that internal shift is what begins to reshape your reality. Every time you act on your goal, even in the smallest way, you reinforce a new identity. You prove to yourself that you are the kind of person who follows through. That matters more than you realize. Because once your identity begins to shift, everything else becomes easier. You're not forcing discipline anymore. You're just being who you already believe you are. But it begins with one small commitment, followed by another, followed by another. That's the formula. That's the truth behind every meaningful change you've ever admired in someone else. Most people quit too early. They start strong, then stop when they don't see immediate results. But the results always lag behind the effort. That's the trap. You expect progress on your schedule, but growth doesn't follow your timeline. It follows your consistency. You might not see the changes today or tomorrow, but if you show up for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, the change will become undeniable. The only question is whether you can stay patient enough, disciplined enough, focused enough to keep moving while the results are still invisible. That's the test. That's what separates winners from dreamers. To break down your goals into manageable daily actions, you have to simplify your life. Not by doing less, but by doing less of what doesn't matter. You can't say yes to everything and expect to stay aligned. You have to say no, frequently and unapologetically. Success requires subtraction. You have to remove the unnecessary to make room for the essential. Ask yourself this every morning. What are the top 3 things I need to do today to move closer to my goal? Then schedule them. Protect that time like it's sacred. Don't wait for a convenient moment. Make the moment happen. Your calendar should reflect your priorities, not just your obligations. Most people never pause to think strategically about their days. They live reactively, responding to distractions, putting out fires and calling it productivity. But activity is not progress. Motion is not momentum. You can be busy all day and move nowhere. True progress comes from being deliberate, from asking what is the one thing I could do today that would make the biggest impact on my future, and then doing that first, before the noise of the day drowns it out. That one question, asked consistently, will change your entire trajectory. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a simple one and the discipline to follow it. Most people get lost in overthinking. They plan for weeks, analyze every angle, read every book, and still don't take action. Why? Because they confuse complexity with intelligence. But the truth is, the smartest people are the ones who move. They learn by doing. They adjust as they go. They fail fast, learn fast, and grow fast. Don't waste time trying to predict every obstacle. Just start. Take the first step. Let the path reveal itself through action, not analysis. The compound effect is the most powerful force in your favor. One good decision may not change your life overnight, but 100 of them made daily absolutely will. You don't have to do something massive today. You just have to stay consistent with the small things that matter. Write for 20 minutes. Meditate for 10. Save $5. Call one potential client. Every action plants a seed. And while you can't control when the harvest comes, you can control how often you plant. The more seeds you plant, the more inevitable your success becomes. The deeper truth is this: your future is being built in the quiet moments, not in the loud dramatic gestures, but in the mornings you rise early and work while others sleep, in the nights you say no to comfort and yes to purpose, in the days you keep showing up when no one is clapping for you. That's where greatness is forged. And if you can learn to fall in love with that process, the daily grind, the quiet progress, the invisible wins, there's nothing that can stop you. If you're serious about success, stop chasing intensity. Chase consistency. Intensity will burn you out. Consistency will build you up. You don't need to sprint. You just need to keep walking forward, one clear step at a time. That's the secret. That's the truth. It's not exciting. It's not flashy. But it works. Every time. For anyone who's disciplined enough to follow through. And when the doubt creeps in, because it will, remind yourself why you started. Not for recognition, not for applause, but because something inside you refuses to settle. Something inside you knows you're capable of more. That voice matters. Don't ignore it. Feed it, strengthen it, prove it right. Every day, with your actions. So what will you do today? What's one step you can take, small, clear and meaningful, that brings your goal closer to reality? Do it now. Not later. Not when you feel like it. not when it's easy. Do it now, and then do it again tomorrow. Stack those days, protect those wins, build your future brick by brick, step by step. That's how success is created, not in a single moment, but in thousands of intentional ones, all within your control, all starting now. Chapter 3. Conquer your fears by taking consistent small steps. Fear is not your enemy. It's the quiet test life gives you to see if you're ready to rise. And most people fail that test, not because they're weak, but because they wait for the fear to go away before they move. They wait to feel brave before they act. But courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to move forward in spite of it. It's choosing to take one small, clear forward step, even while your hands shake and your heart races. That step may not silence your fear, but it will strip it of its power, because fear can only control what you refuse to face. Think about the opportunities you've let pass you by, because fear whispered, "You're not ready yet." The conversations you avoided, the risks you never took, the dreams you buried under logic and excuses. How many times have you talked yourself out of something your soul was begging for, just because you were afraid of discomfort, failure, rejection, or looking foolish? You didn't lose those moments because you were incapable. You lost them because fear held the steering wheel while you sat in the back seat of your own life. That ends now. You don't conquer fear by wishing it away. You conquer it by shrinking the mountain into a step you can take today, and then taking that step, and then another. Because when you face fear in small, repeated doses, it loses its grip. It's like lifting a weight that used to crush you. The first time you try, it feels impossible. But if you come back the next day and lift again, just once, just a little, you get stronger. You begin to realize that fear was never as big as you imagined. It only felt that way because you let it grow in the shadows of inaction. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. You don't have to jump off cliffs or make dramatic moves. You just have to act, consistently, intentionally, and in full awareness that fear will walk beside you for a while. That's fine, let it come. But don't let it lead. Let it be a passenger, not the pilot. Because the truth is, fear only thrives in stagnation. It multiplies in hesitation, but it can't survive consistent movement. It can't dominate a mind that's focused on progress. Every time you move forward, no matter how small the step, you prove to fear that it no longer gets to decide your limits. You've got to stop waiting to feel ready. Readiness is a myth. Confidence is built, not born. And it's built one uncomfortable decision at a time. The person you admire, the one who seems fearless, they didn't start that way. They took a step, and then they took another. And slowly they became the kind of person who no longer runs from the hard things. That can be you. But you have to start. You have to be willing to take that first awkward, uncertain, shaky step. You have to give yourself permission to do it. Afraid, fear is not a sign to stop. It's a signal that what you're about to do actually matters. It's proof that you're stepping outside of the comfort zone that's kept you stuck. You can't grow and stay safe at the same time. One always comes at the expense of the other. So the question is, which one do you choose? Safety or growth? Because you don't get both. One will lead you back to the same cycles. The other will stretch you, pull you, change you, and it's going to be hard, but it's also going to be worth it. So what does it look like to conquer your fears in real life? It looks like speaking up in the meeting, even when your voice shakes. It looks like sending that message, making that call, applying for that job, even when you think you're not good enough. It looks like walking into the gym for the first time when you feel out of place. It looks like waking up early to work on your dream, even when no one's watching. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, but it's powerful, because every small step chips away at the wall between you and the life you want. And let's be clear, fear never fully disappears, it just changes shape. At every level of growth, it comes back. New stage, new stakes, new fears. But if you've built the habit of taking consistent steps, you've built a system that can carry you through anything. You don't have to fight fear every time. You just have to stick to your process. And over time, the actions that once terrified you become your new normal. That's how real transformation happens. Not through massive leaps, but through tiny shifts, repeated with discipline and belief. And belief matters, because every step you take sends a message to your brain. It says, I can handle this. And when you hear that message often enough, it becomes a truth. Not because you faked it, but because you proved it. You showed yourself that fear doesn't define you, that action does. That's how confidence is born. Not in the absence of fear, but in the presence of consistent courage. Think back to the first time you learned something new. Maybe it was riding a bike, driving a car, giving a speech. You were nervous, you made mistakes. But you didn't stop, you kept going. And eventually what once felt terrifying became second nature. That's the power of small steps. They rewire your brain. They create new evidence. And soon the thing you feared becomes part of who you are. That same principle applies to everything. Public speaking, entrepreneurship, fitness, relationships. Any area of growth starts with you saying, I'll take this one step, even though I'm scared. Most people spend their lives waiting for fear to disappear. They wait for a sign. They wait for conditions to be perfect. But perfect never comes. The conditions will never feel ideal. The voice of fear will always be there. So if you want to win, you have to start anyway. You have to stop treating fear as a stop sign and start seeing it as a green light. Because what you fear the most is often exactly where your growth lives. It's not the thing to avoid, it's the thing to lean into. Let's talk about failure. Because that's what most people are really afraid of. They don't want to fail. They don't want to be seen failing. But failure is not fatal. It's feedback. It's a lesson. It's proof that you're trying. And if you can learn to see it that way, to see every stumble as a stepping stone, you become unstoppable. Because while other people are afraid of looking foolish, you're building resilience. While they're watching from the sidelines, you're playing the game. And even if you lose some rounds, you're gaining strength. They'll never understand. You don't become fearless by avoiding fear. You become fearless by walking through it so many times that it loses its grip. And that starts with one decision. One moment where you say, this fear doesn't get to control me today. You take one action. You prove one thing to yourself. Then you do it again. You build a habit of bravery. You become someone who moves forward, not someone who retreats. And eventually that becomes your identity. Not because you were born brave, but because you chose bravery repeatedly. You might be thinking, but what if I try and fail? My question is, what if you don't try and stay stuck forever? What if the pain of never knowing eats at you for the rest of your life? Regret is far more brutal than failure. At least with failure you learn, you grow, you come back stronger. But with regret, you're left with questions you'll never answer. So stop protecting yourself from discomfort and start protecting your future from regret. That's a trade worth making. And the truth is, every time you take action despite fear, you light a fire inside yourself. You build momentum. You gain clarity. The path becomes less foggy. The mountain gets smaller. Your self-respect increases. Because nothing builds self-worth faster than doing the thing you once avoided. You start to trust yourself. You start to believe, if I say I'll do it, I'll do it. And that belief is the foundation of confidence, the engine of success. You don't have to move fast, you just have to move forward. Progress is progress, even if it's slow, especially if it's slow. Because the slow path is often the one that lasts. The habits you build gradually are the ones that become who you are. So if fear is holding you back, don't wait for a breakthrough. Create one. Start today. Do one thing that scares you, not because you're reckless, but because you're done being ruled by fear. And if that voice in your head tries to stop you again, here's what you say. Thank you for trying to protect me, but I'm not here to survive. I'm here to grow. And growth doesn't live in comfort. It lives in action. Then take the step. Make the call. Hit the send button. Walk through the door. Do it scared. Do it small. Just don't stay stuck. This is your moment. This is your wake-up call. The life you want is not waiting at the top of the mountain. It's built step by step, in the shadows of fear, but only if you're willing to walk through it. Now get up, take that first step, and show fear that it picked the wrong person to mess with. Chapter 4. Cultivate resilience by embracing discomfort and challenges. The strongest version of you is hiding behind the very pain you've been trying to avoid. Most people spend their entire lives running from discomfort, dodging challenges, and clinging to anything that feels safe or easy. But what they don't realize is this: growth never comes from ease. Strength is never born in comfort, and if you want to become someone unshakable, someone who can rise through anything, then you have to walk directly into the places that make you uncomfortable. You have to stop fearing struggle and start embracing it. Because the person you're meant to become is forged in the fire, not in the sunshine. Every challenge you've ever faced was preparing you for more. But most people don't see it that way. They treat every obstacle as a punishment, every difficulty as bad luck, every discomfort as something to escape. That mindset is the reason why they never rise. That mindset is the reason why life keeps beating them down. They keep waiting for the road to get easier, but it never does, and it's not supposed to. Life doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. And the only way to get stronger is by willingly stepping into the storm. Resilience is not a gift, it's a muscle. And the only way you build it is through pain, pressure, and persistence. You don't develop it when everything's going right. You build it when you're tired, when you're stretched, when you're pushed to your limits and still choose not to break. You build it when you fall flat on your face, and instead of quitting, you stand up slower, more determined, more dangerous. That's what resilience is. The refusal to let life pin you down. The decision to keep showing up, even when everything inside you wants to quit. Think about the moments that changed you the most. The turning points. The breakthroughs. The ones that made you stronger, sharper, wiser. Were they easy? Were they comfortable? Or did they break you first? Did they stretch you so far you thought you couldn't take it, and then show you that you could? That's the pattern of life. It tests you before it promotes you. It strips away your comfort so it can reveal your character. And every time you lean into those moments, instead of retreating from them, you become someone new. Someone who's no longer intimidated by pain. Someone who doesn't crumble under pressure. Someone who knows how to handle the weight of greatness. Discomfort is a mirror. It shows you exactly who you are and what you're made of. And most people don't like what they see. That's why they run. They numb. They distract. But the ones who have the courage to look at that reflection and say, "Let's go deeper," are the ones who find power they never knew they had. They realize that pain is not their enemy. It's their greatest ally. Because pain is honest. It reveals your weaknesses so you can strengthen them. It exposes your fears so you can face them. It brings to light the very things you need to work on if you want to grow into someone extraordinary. But to reach that place, you have to stop expecting comfort to lead you to greatness. It never will. You have to stop negotiating with struggle. Stop resenting difficulty. Start viewing every uncomfortable moment as a doorway, not a wall. And the more doors you walk through, the more unstoppable you become, because discomfort stops scaring you. Challenges stop overwhelming you. You stop being reactive and start being proactive. You stop living in defense and start playing offense with your life. This mindset shift changes everything. When you begin to expect struggle, you stop flinching when it arrives. When you learn to welcome discomfort, it no longer owns you. You start to rise above the noise. You become focused, disciplined, relentless. Life still throws punches, but you know how to take them. You know how to stay standing, or get up quicker when you fall. That's resilience. And it's not just about surviving hard times. It's about using those hard times to become so mentally bulletproof that nothing can break you anymore. And you don't need a crisis to start building it. You just need a willingness to lean into discomfort every single day. You build it when you choose to wake up early, when you'd rather sleep in. You build it when you push through a workout, when your body says no. You build it when you make hard decisions that your future self will thank you for. You build it in the cold, the silence, the lonely grind. You build it when no one's clapping for you, when no one's watching, but you keep going anyway. Discipline and discomfort are best friends. You can't have one without the other. If you run from one, you lose both. But if you learn to sit with discomfort, to breathe through it, to invite it into your process, something incredible happens. You begin to realize that pain won't kill you. That challenge doesn't destroy you. That discomfort is just a sign that you're evolving. And suddenly, the things that used to intimidate you become the fuel that drives you. And listen closely, this is not about being reckless or romanticizing suffering. This is about choosing the kind of discomfort that builds you, not the kind that breaks you. It's about choosing growth over stagnation, sacrifice over short-term ease, responsibility over excuses, because the life you want is not waiting for you in the comfort zone. It's sitting just beyond your breaking point. It's hiding in the workouts you don't want to do, the conversations you've been avoiding, the projects you keep putting off. And it's not going to come to you. You have to go to it. You have to meet it in the trenches, in the grind, in the stretch. When you train your mind to crave challenge instead of avoiding it, you change your wiring. You become someone who doesn't just survive difficulty, you dominate it. Someone who sees a wall and thinks, I can climb that. Someone who faces setbacks and says, good, let's grow. That kind of mindset will take you places talent never could. Because talent can get tired. Motivation fades, but resilience shows up every day, whether it feels like it or not. There's a reason why so many people start strong and fade out. It's not because they didn't want it. It's because they didn't train for the valleys. They weren't ready for the struggle. They didn't build the mental toughness required to keep going when everything in their life felt like it was falling apart. But you're different. You're not here for the illusion of ease. You're here to get stronger. You're here to become someone who thrives under pressure. Someone who doesn't fold when life hits hard. Because life will hit hard. Let's not pretend it won't. You're going to get hurt. You'll face betrayal. You'll lose people. You'll feel like giving up more times than you can count. But in those moments, you'll have a choice: collapse or rise, give up or grow up, run or reach deeper into yourself and find out what you're made of. And when you choose growth enough times, the pain becomes your teacher. The challenge becomes your proving ground. And you stop being the person who merely reacts to life, and you become the person who shapes it. This is your training ground. Right now, whatever discomfort you're facing, it's not random, it's necessary. It's giving you the tools you'll need for what's coming next. But only if you don't waste it. Only if you show up to it fully, with your heart open and your will locked in. You don't get to skip this part. You don't get to fast forward to greatness. You've got to go through it. You've got to let it break you down so it can build you better. Because when you come out on the other side, and you won't just be stronger. You'll be wiser, sharper, more focused. You'll carry scars, yes, but you'll also carry stories. Stories that remind you what you're capable of. Stories that inspire others to rise, because they see how far you've come. So stop waiting for the world to get easier. Stop praying for less resistance. Pray for more strength. Ask for more clarity, more courage, more discipline. The kind of mindset that welcomes the hard path. The kind of spirit that says, I'd rather be exhausted from progress than comfortable in mediocrity. Because that's how champions think. That's how warriors move. And that's how you win. You already have everything you need inside you. You just need to dig it out. And the tool for that, it's discomfort, it's challenge, it's the pressure that most people run from. So instead of running, lean in, lean hard, learn to love it, let it mold you, let it sharpen you, let it turn you into someone you respect. Because at the end of the day, all the motivation in the world means nothing if you're not willing to embrace the struggle. So make that decision now. Stop chasing comfort. Start chasing strength. Show life you're not afraid of the fire. You are the fire. Now go prove it.
Chapter 5. Strengthen your mindset through focused daily practices. If you don't train your mind every single day, the world will train it for you, and you won't like where it takes you. Every day, distractions are fighting for your attention. Every day, fear is trying to creep in and control your decisions. Every day, the voice of doubt whispers that you're not good enough, not ready, not worthy. And if you don't have a system, if you don't have a focused mental practice to ground yourself, you'll drift, you'll react, you'll fall into cycles you swore you'd never repeat. The mind is like a wild animal. If you don't take the time to train it, it'll run you into the ground. The most successful people aren't lucky. They're not superhuman. What separates them is what they do consistently. And that consistency begins with the mind. Every victory they've created on the outside started from a decision they made on the inside, to discipline their thoughts, to guard their focus, to take back control of their emotions, and to master the way they speak to themselves. If your mindset is weak, your potential gets wasted. You can have talent, ambition, and big dreams, but if you can't control what goes on in your head, you'll sabotage your own progress. You'll start strong, but never finish. You'll talk yourself out of opportunities before you even begin. You'll break down every time life throws something hard at you. But when your mindset is fortified, when you sharpen it daily, you become someone who doesn't just talk about growth, but lives it. Think about how much energy you've lost reacting to negativity. Think about how many hours you've wasted doubting yourself. Think about the time you've spent worrying about opinions that don't even matter. Now imagine what your life would look like if you took all that energy and focused it on building confidence, building discipline, building belief in your ability to rise, no matter what. That's the power of a focused mindset. And the way you build it is through intentional daily practices, routines that put your thoughts in check,
realign your direction, and push you to stay sharp, no matter how chaotic the world gets. Start your day with mental clarity. Before the world pulls you in 1,000 directions, take back your power by setting your own tone. Whether it's 10 minutes of silence, journaling, meditation, or clear visualization, lock into your vision before life can distract you from it. This isn't fluff, it's mental conditioning. You're priming your mind to think clearly, act deliberately, and stay aligned with who you want to become. Because if you wait until the pressure hits to get focused, it's already too late. Your mind responds to repetition. What you tell yourself every day is what you'll start to believe. So if your inner dialogue is full of complaints, doubts, and fear, you'll act accordingly. You'll shrink. But if your inner voice becomes disciplined, direct, and grounded in power, you'll rise. You'll stop being your own obstacle. You'll start becoming your own source of fuel. And that begins with what you practice internally. Every morning, every night, every quiet moment in between. Don't wait for motivation. Train yourself to move without it. Waiting to feel ready is a trap. It's how you stay stuck for years, convincing yourself that someday you'll be confident enough to act. But confidence doesn't show up first. Action does. And the only way to act consistently is to build a mental environment where discipline leads, not feelings. Practice showing up, whether you feel like it or not. Practice finishing what you start. Practice sitting with discomfort without retreating. These little acts add up, and soon they rewire the very way you process challenge. Train your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. Attention is your most valuable currency. Where it goes, your life flows. But most people give theirs away so easily. They scroll, they gossip, they react, and then wonder why they feel exhausted, scattered, lost. If you want power, protect your attention. Choose what you consume. Choose what thoughts you engage with. Choose who gets access to your mental space. A focused mind isn't one that tries to think of everything. It's one that knows what to ignore. And here's the truth, most people never hear. You can't think your way into strength. You have to live it. That means practicing the mindset you want, even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable. Want confidence? Do things that scare you. Want resilience? Push through when quitting feels easier. Want mental toughness? Practice staying grounded when everything feels uncertain. These aren't one-time actions, these are daily disciplines, and the more you lean into them, the more they become second nature. Eliminate the noise. That's how you hear your true voice again. When you constantly fill your head with external chaos, opinions, news, distractions, you lose the clarity to hear what you truly believe. That's why you need moments of stillness every single day. Time to disconnect from everything else so you can reconnect with yourself. Not to escape the world, but to lead it. Not to withdraw, but to return with more strength, more clarity, more purpose. Your environment matters. What you surround yourself with shapes your mindset, whether you realize it or not. So build an environment that fuels your focus, not one that fractures it. Keep your space clean. Cut out the digital clutter. Be mindful of the conversations you allow. Create habits that make discipline easier and distractions harder to access. You don't rise by willpower alone. You rise by design. Design your life so the strong choice becomes the easy choice. Let go of perfection. It's a lie. It's a distraction. The real power is in showing up messy, uncertain, flawed, and still moving forward. Train your mind to value progress over image, effort over outcome, truth over appearance. When you stop waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect mood, the perfect moment, you start creating real transformation. And that's what you're here for, right? Not to look impressive, but to become powerful. Get honest with yourself daily. Ask the hard questions. Where did I drift today? Where did I waste energy? Where did I hold back? And instead of judging yourself, learn from it. Use it. Adjust. Your mind becomes stronger every time you choose self-awareness over self-deception. Every time you choose responsibility over excuses. Every time you own your path instead of blaming your circumstances. And remember, your mental strength is not about feeling positive all the time. It's about showing up with purpose, even when you feel weak. It's about having a set of practices so grounded in discipline that you don't fall apart when life doesn't go your way. It's about choosing consistency when chaos wants to consume you. Because storms will come, emotions will rise, doubt will try to creep in. But if your mindset has been trained daily, you'll know how to stand firm in who you are. This is the truth no one wants to admit. If you don't actively train your mind, you're training it by default to be anxious, distracted, insecure. If you don't choose your thoughts, the world will feed you its worst ones. And that's why most people feel stuck. Not because they lack potential, but because they never took control of their mind. But you're not most people. You're here because something inside you refuses to settle. Something inside you knows that you were meant to live a powerful, disciplined, focused life. And the only thing standing in your way is your mental operating system. So upgrade it every single day. No excuses, no waiting, no negotiating. Start now, even if it's just 10 minutes. Start with silence. Start with breath. Start with gratitude. Start by reminding yourself who you're becoming. Start by reviewing your vision. Start by writing your goals. Start by acting like your time is valuable. Because it is. Build that practice into your day until it becomes non-negotiable. Until it becomes your foundation. Until your entire identity is rooted in focus. Because once your mindset is strong, everything changes. You stop chasing things that don't matter. You stop falling apart every time life gets hard. You stop living from fear and start moving from power. You stop waiting and you start creating. And that's when momentum hits. That's when the world starts responding differently. Because the world reflects the energy you carry. And when your energy is grounded in focus, discipline and belief, you become unstoppable. So no more waiting for confidence. No more hoping for motivation. No more drifting through your days wondering why nothing is changing. The answer is in your hands. Your next level is waiting. And it's not about doing more. It's about thinking better, sharper, clearer, with intention, with power, with purpose. This is your moment. You've tried chaos. You've tried comfort. Now it's time to try focus. Now it's time to choose the life that requires your discipline, your hunger, your daily effort. Build the mind that can carry the weight of the life you want. And if you do that, every day, no matter how small, there will come a moment when you look in the mirror and no longer recognize the person you used to be. Because you'll have become someone unshakable. Someone powerful, someone focused. So get up, get locked in, get to work, and never let a single day pass without strengthening your mind. Because the life you want isn't waiting, it's ready when you are.
Chapter 6. Prioritize your health as the foundation for success. If you don't take care of your body, you are silently destroying the very machine that's supposed to carry you to your dreams. Success is not just about what you do, it's about how long you can keep doing it. And your health is the foundation that determines that. Without it, everything else collapses.
The ambitions, the plans, the grind, the wins, they all become meaningless if your body gives out. But so many people are sprinting toward their goals while slowly deteriorating from the inside out. They're chasing money, chasing status, chasing validation, while ignoring the vessel that makes it all possible. You can't build a powerful life on a weak body. You can't think clearly, lead strongly, or push through adversity if you're constantly drained, unfocused, inflamed, and restless. How many more mornings are you going to wake up feeling exhausted? How many more days are you going to drag yourself through, running on caffeine and adrenaline, pretending everything's fine when you know your energy is crashing? This is not how you're supposed to live. You weren't built to survive on fast food, 5 hours of sleep, and stress that never turns off. You were built to thrive. You were built to move with strength, to breathe with ease, to think with clarity, to sleep with peace. But that version of you only comes to life when you prioritize your health, not just as a side note, but as the foundation of everything you're building. The truth is, your body is sending you signals every day. That tightness in your chest, that constant fatigue, that anxiety that never seems to leave. It's not just stress, it's a warning that you're running too fast without replenishing what you're losing. A warning that your lifestyle isn't sustainable. And if you keep ignoring it, one day your body will force you to stop. Not politely, but with illness, breakdown, burnout. And by then you'll wish you'd listened sooner. Your health is your power. When your body is aligned, everything else becomes easier. Your thoughts become sharper. Your discipline strengthens. Your willpower expands. You stop operating in survival mode and start performing like the person you were born to be. But this doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you make health a non-negotiable. When you stop treating it like an afterthought and start treating it like your launch pad. No one talks about the fact that fatigue ruins dreams. It's hard to be ambitious when you're always tired. It's hard to be creative when your brain is inflamed from sugar, stress, and lack of sleep. It's hard to stay consistent when your body aches, your energy crashes, and your mind feels foggy. You can't sustain greatness on a broken system. So instead of pushing harder, start recovering smarter. Start eating like your future depends on it. Start sleeping like your focus depends on it. Start moving like your strength depends on it, because it does. You don't need a perfect diet. You don't need to become a fitness influencer. You need awareness. You need discipline. You need to listen to what your body's been begging for: hydration, movement, sleep, nutrients, and time to reset. You need to remember that self-care is not selfish. It's the most strategic move you can make. Because when you're operating at 100%, your output triples. Your decisions improve. Your patience returns. Your vision sharpens. You stop just surviving your days, and you start conquering them. Think about how many of your bad decisions were made when you were exhausted. Think about how many fights started because you were hungry or irritable. Think about how many days were wasted in a fog because you couldn't focus. Now ask yourself, how different would your life be if you felt energized, balanced, and clear every single day? That version of you already exists. It's not a fantasy. It's just waiting for you to prioritize it. Let's be honest, discipline in your health leaks into every other area of your life. When you commit to waking up earlier to move your body, you build the kind of self-trust that strengthens your mindset. When you eat clean, you gain the clarity to make smarter financial and emotional choices. When you choose to sleep instead of scrolling, you protect your mental peace and emotional stability. Health isn't just about your body, it's about your future. It's about your relationships, your confidence, your ability to show up for the people and dreams that matter most. And here's the real truth. No one tells you most people don't change their health habits until it's too late. Until the diagnosis hits. Until the pain won't go away. Until the doctor sits across from them and says the words they never thought they'd hear. Don't wait for that. Don't wait for rock bottom. Be the person who listens early, who acts before it's urgent, who builds a body that can carry the weight of their purpose. Your energy is your edge. While others are crashing halfway through the day, you're just getting started. While they're numbing out with stimulants and distractions, you're fueling up and building momentum. And that edge, day after day, is what separates the winners from the watchers, the champions from the complainers, the focused from the frazzled. You want an unfair advantage? Start with your health. Get stronger than your excuses. Get clearer than your cravings. Get more intentional than your impulses. Start small if you need to. Drink more water. Walk for 20 minutes. Cut the sugar that's making you sluggish. Shut off the screen an hour earlier. Cook one clean meal a day. These aren't massive changes, but they compound. And over time they create a body and mind that's resilient, responsive and razor sharp. Success isn't about how hard you can grind. It's about how well you can recover, how long you can sustain it, and how deeply you're willing to respect the one body you've been given. No goal is worth sacrificing your health. Not money, not status, not praise. What's the point of becoming successful if you're too sick to enjoy it? If you're too anxious to rest? If you're too burned out to love the people around you? That's not winning. That's pretending. Real success includes vitality. It includes freedom. It includes waking up with energy, clarity and peace, not just pressure. You want to go to the next level? Then fuel yourself like you deserve to be there. Stop treating your body like an afterthought. Start building the habits of someone who leads, someone who lasts, someone who loves themselves enough to make their well-being a priority. Because every time you skip your health, you slow your progress. But every time you honor your health, you accelerate your power. This isn't about aesthetics. This is about sustainability. This is about building a life that lasts. This is about the days you'll never get back if your health fails you. This is about your future children, your legacy, your purpose. And none of it means anything if you're not strong enough to carry it. If you want to build something great, you need a body that can handle the weight. If you want to lead others, you need the energy to show up fully. If you want to live a life of discipline and fulfillment, it starts with how you treat your health when no one is watching. Because that's where the transformation happens. In the quiet choices, in the daily decisions, in the moments you say no to shortcuts and yes to strength. When you cook your meals instead of ordering trash. When you stretch instead of scrolling. When you lift instead of loaf. When you get sunlight. When you breathe deeply. When you stay consistent, not for some quick fix, but for the future version of you who needs you to care right now. You can't outsource this. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to make you drink that water, do that workout, get that sleep. It's on you. And that's the beauty of it. Because once you realize that your health is your responsibility, you also realize it's your superpower. You realize that no matter how busy, how stressed, how distracted you are, you always have the power to take it back, to realign, to reset, to rebuild. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to start today. One habit, one change, one act of self-respect. And when you stack those decisions, something powerful happens. You begin to trust yourself again. You begin to feel alive again. You begin to move through life with a sense of ownership and power that no one can take from you.
So stop waiting. Stop pretending you'll get serious later. Later turns into never. Later is how people die with regrets. Choose now. Choose strength. Choose to build a foundation that can support every dream you're chasing. And if you stay with it, if you stay committed to your health like your life depends on it, it will repay you in ways you can't even imagine. Because when your health is thriving, your mind follows. Your emotions stabilize. Your purpose deepens, and your life elevates. You become a force, not because of what you've achieved, but because of how fully and powerfully you're able to live. So move, breathe, sleep, eat, like your life is sacred. Because it is. And the stronger you get, the clearer everything else becomes. Now go show the world what someone fully alive looks like.
Chapter 7. Track your progress daily to stay honest and accountable. If you don't track your progress, you're not improving, you're just guessing, and guessing is how dreams die slowly. Think about this. How many times have you told yourself you were doing pretty good without having any proof? How many weeks have gone by where you swore you were making progress, only to realize nothing really changed? That's the lie most people live inside. They confuse movement with growth, activity with accomplishment. They confuse being busy with being effective. And the worst part is, they don't even notice it because they don't track it. They don't hold up the mirror. They don't measure what matters. So they keep repeating the same average days, convincing themselves that something's shifting, when really they're stuck in place. Progress only becomes real when it's measured. Otherwise, you're walking in circles with your eyes closed, hoping you end up somewhere better. You can't fix what you won't face. You can't grow what you don't track. And you'll never be honest with yourself until you see your own patterns clearly. That's why tracking is not optional. It's essential. It's the key to staying grounded in reality, to knowing what's working and what's not. It forces you to be accountable to yourself, not just to your feelings. Because feelings are liars. Some days you'll feel like you're failing, even when you're making progress. Other days you'll feel like you're crushing it, even when you're slipping. That's why you need data. You need evidence. You need to see the truth in front of you every day. And when you build that habit, when you write it down, when you log it, when you review it, everything changes. You start to catch yourself faster. You stop letting days slide by unnoticed. You become your own coach, your own mirror, your own check-in. But most people avoid this. They fear the truth. They'd rather not see how little progress they're actually making. They want to feel good without doing the work. But if you really want to rise, if you really want to evolve, you have to face the discomfort of honest tracking, not to punish yourself, but to grow. Because growth only comes from awareness, and awareness only comes from paying attention. You can't change what you don't see. You can't level up if you keep avoiding your own reflection. So here's what this means. Every single day, you need to check in with yourself, not once a month, not just when you feel like it. Every day, you need to ask, did I move forward today? Did I honor my values? Did I keep the promises I made to myself? Did I take one step, no matter how small, toward the life I say I want? And if the answer is no, you write it down. You acknowledge it. You own it. Because nothing grows in the dark. And when you shine a light on your patterns, your progress accelerates. There's no mystery to success. The people who win are simply the ones who track their behavior and adjust in real time. They're not perfect. They're not superhuman. They just refuse to fly blind. They don't wait until December to realize the year disappeared. They know exactly where their time is going, where their energy is flowing, and what habits are shaping their future. And because of that, they have power, control, awareness. That's what tracking gives you. It gives you your power back. You see, most people drift. They live reactively. They wake up and just respond to whatever hits them. But the moment you start tracking, you stop drifting. You start steering. You start making decisions with intention, not emotion. You stop living on autopilot. You start designing your days, your actions, your mindset. That's how you build momentum. That's how you turn vague goals into real transformation, one day of clarity at a time. And it's not just about big goals, it's about micro wins. It's about writing down the fact that you got out of bed at the time you said you would. It's about noting the days you stuck to your meal plan, kept your cool in a difficult conversation, shut your phone off when it was time to focus. Those moments matter. They compound, they build character. And when you track them, you start to respect them. You stop treating discipline like a chore and start seeing it as a personal victory. And that shift is everything. Think of your life like a blueprint. Every action you take is a line, a layer, a brick. When you track those actions, you see the structure forming. You see what's missing. You see what's crooked. And you get to fix it before it becomes a wall that traps you. Tracking gives you control. It gives you time to course correct before your bad habits solidify. It lets you see where you're excelling and where you're lying to yourself. Let me ask you something. Would you trust a business that never looked at its numbers, never checked revenue, never reviewed performance? Of course not. So why would you treat your life that way? Why would you run the most important project of your existence, your own evolution, without measuring it? It's not about being obsessive. It's about being intentional. Tracking is not about pressure. It's about presence. It's a way to stay awake in your own life, to stop sleepwalking through your days, to actually know what you're building, instead of hoping it all magically works out. And yes, it's uncomfortable at first, because it reveals the truth. It shows you how often you're distracted, how many workouts you skip, how often you scroll instead of study, how easily you break your own promises. But that discomfort, that's your teacher. That's the voice that says, let's do better, let's stop pretending, let's step into who we're meant to be. Tracking forces you to grow up, to stop making excuses, to stop saying, I think I'm doing okay, when deep down you know you're not. Because your life is too important to manage with guesses. You are not average. You are not here to drift. You are here to dominate. And domination starts with precision, with clarity, with daily brutal honesty. And it's not just about tracking what you did. It's also about tracking who you were. What mindset did you operate from today? Were you reactive or calm, confident or insecure, focused or scattered? This is where deep growth happens, when you stop just tracking tasks and start tracking identity. Who are you becoming? Are your actions aligned with your values? Are your choices reflecting your character? When you start tracking like that, your whole life changes. You stop just doing, you start becoming. You start shaping your identity with intention. And the more you do that, the more unstoppable you become. Because now, you're not just reacting to life. You're crafting it. You're molding yourself into the person your future needs. You'll begin to notice patterns. Certain days you always crash. Certain times you lose discipline. Certain triggers pull you off track. When you write those down, you're not just documenting, you're decoding your own psychology. You're learning what works, what doesn't, what environments support you, what habits drain you, and that awareness becomes your edge. Because while others are still wondering why they feel stuck, you already know. And because you know, you can change it. You can pivot. You can design a life that's aligned with who you want to be. That's the power of daily tracking. It puts the steering wheel back in your hands. You don't need to share it with anyone. This isn't for likes. It's for you. It's between you and the mirror. You and your conscience. You and the version of you that knows you were made for more. And the more honest you are in that journal, that habit tracker, that progress sheet, the more powerful you become in real life. Eventually it stops being a chore. It becomes a ritual, a moment of truth, a sacred check-in where you reconnect with your purpose, where you acknowledge the effort, where you reset your standards. And over time it hardwires integrity into your identity. You start to crave that alignment. You stop tolerating mediocrity, because you've seen what you're capable of, and you're not willing to settle for less anymore. This is how you build confidence that can't be shaken, not from hype, not from external praise, but from evidence, from watching yourself show up every single day, from knowing deep down that you're not just dreaming, you're doing. And that quiet, grounded self-belief, that's the most powerful fuel there is. So if you've been drifting, floating, pretending, it's time to stop. Start tracking. Start measuring. Start facing your own patterns with honesty and grit. Because the version of you who's focused, disciplined and fulfilled, that version is only one habit away, one day of clarity away, one moment of truth away. Write it down. Track the effort. Acknowledge the slip-ups. Celebrate the wins. Hold yourself to a standard so strong that you don't need anyone else to keep you accountable. You become your own keeper, your own coach, your own spark. And if you do that, if you truly commit to daily accountability, there's no limit to how far you'll go. Because now, you're not just wishing for progress, you're building it, proving it, and becoming it every single day. And that's how you win. Now open the journal, grab the pen, and begin again, because your next level is waiting on your consistency.
Chapter 8. Eliminate distractions and stay laser-focused on your goals. You're not tired, you're just distracted, and every second you spend chasing the noise is a second stolen from your greatness. Distraction is not just a small problem, it's the silent killer of dreams. It's the invisible wall between who you are and who you could be. It's the reason so many people with enormous potential never get anywhere, because they allow their attention to be hijacked by things that don't matter. Notifications, endless scrolling, mindless entertainment, useless arguments, every little thing that steals your focus is robbing you of the life you say you want. And the worst part is, you know it. Deep down, you feel it every day. You feel the guilt, the emptiness, the frustration, the quiet realization that you could be doing more, but you're not. Because the distractions keep winning. You tell yourself you'll start working in 5 minutes. You'll open the book after one more video. You'll build the business when life calms down. But it never calms down. And those 5 minutes turn into 5 hours, 5 days, 5 years. Before you know it, the future you imagined becomes the past you regret, because you kept letting your attention be pulled in 1,000 directions, hoping somehow it would all work out. But focus doesn't happen by accident. It's not automatic. It has to be claimed, guarded, and protected with everything you've got. It's a war, and you better start fighting like your life depends on it. Because it does. Distraction is not just a habit, it's an addiction. Every ping, every swipe, every click gives you a hit of dopamine. It feels good for a second, but it trains your brain to crave shallow rewards.
It rewires your mind to avoid effort and chase stimulation. And over time, you lose the ability to concentrate, to sit with discomfort, to go deep on anything meaningful. Your thoughts scatter, your energy fragments. You stop finishing what you start, and without even realizing it, you become the kind of person who lives small, not because you don't have what it takes, but because you never trained your mind to stay locked in. You weren't born this way. You didn't come into the world with a distracted brain. You were trained to be this way by apps, by algorithms, by environments that are built to steal your time and sell your attention. And if you don't take control back, your focus will be consumed forever. You'll keep watching others rise while you stay stuck. Not because they're smarter, not because they're luckier, but because they have the discipline to disconnect from what doesn't serve them and zero in on what does. You want to change your life, then you need to eliminate everything that's pulling you off course. Ruthlessly. No apologies. You need to turn off the noise, silence the chaos, and build a fortress around your attention. You need to stop treating your focus like a suggestion and start treating it like oxygen. Because that's what it is. It's the fuel that drives execution. And execution is the only thing that creates results. Every time you check your phone in the middle of deep work, you're telling your brain that distractions are more important than your goals. Every time you indulge in another tab, another app, another piece of meaningless drama, you weaken your ability to go deep. And depth is where the breakthroughs happen. Depth is where mastery is built. Shallow work creates shallow results. Scattered energy creates scattered outcomes. But focused, intentional effort, that's how legacies are made. You need to get brutal about this. Clean your environment. Turn off notifications. Delete the apps that consume you. Put your phone in another room when you're working. Build rituals that protect your focus, like your future depends on it. Because it does. You can't afford to drift anymore. Not one more day. Not one more minute. You say you want to be great, but greatness demands sacrifice. And the first thing you must sacrifice is distraction. Because distraction is comfort, disguised as entertainment. It keeps you busy enough to feel alive, but not committed enough to grow. And comfort is the enemy of progress. You'll never build anything worthwhile if you keep choosing comfort over clarity. If you keep letting your goals get diluted by the noise. So what do you want more? Comfort or greatness? You can't have both. You have to choose. You have to be willing to feel the discomfort of focused work, the boredom of repetition, the tension of resisting the easy way out. That's how strength is forged. That's how discipline is built. Not in grand gestures, but in the quiet moments when you say no to what's easy and yes to what matters. And yes, it's hard, but it gets easier. The more you train your focus, the sharper it gets. The more you eliminate distractions, the more space you create for clarity, creativity, and execution. You'll start to notice the benefits almost immediately. More progress, less anxiety, deeper satisfaction, stronger self-belief. Because when you commit to focus, you stop feeling like a victim of time. You stop feeling like life is slipping through your fingers. You take control. You reclaim your mind. And that shift, when you finally start owning your attention, that's the moment everything starts to change. Your mind is a battlefield. Every distraction is an intruder, and you're either the gatekeeper or the prisoner. If you don't set boundaries, the world will set them for you. If you don't protect your focus, you will always be reacting to someone else's agenda. You'll live your whole life chasing other people's timelines, other people's approval, other people's urgency, and you'll wonder why you feel empty. Why your dreams always feel out of reach. It's because you gave your focus away to things that didn't deserve it. But you can change that. Right now, you can decide to shut the door on everything that dilutes your mission. You can commit to building a life where your time and energy are invested, not wasted. You can create a space where your goals come first, and distractions don't even get a seat at the table. That level of focus, that ruthless clarity, that's what separates the amateurs from the professionals. That's what turns intentions into reality. And it doesn't happen by chance. It happens through structure, through discipline, through daily rituals that keep you grounded. Start your day with clarity. Define your top priorities. Schedule your focus blocks. Build systems that support your vision instead of sabotaging it. And most of all, hold yourself to a higher standard. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for ideal conditions. Focus anyway. Work anyway. Show up anyway. Because the results you want aren't hiding. They're just buried under layers of distraction. Peel them back. Cut the noise. Eliminate the things that pull you away from your purpose. And when you do that, when you go all in on your focus, you'll be shocked by how fast things change. You'll look back and wonder why you ever tolerated the noise for so long. You'll realize that all along, the real battle was with your own discipline. And that's the truth no one wants to admit. Your success is not about how smart you are. It's about how focused you're willing to be. It's about your ability to say no to temptation, to distraction, to anything that doesn't move you forward. That's the real flex. That's the real strength. And the people who master it, they don't just get ahead. They stay ahead. So if you've been scattered, distracted, stretched thin, it's time to recalibrate. It's time to get serious about your time, your energy, your goals. You've wasted enough days chasing noise. Now it's time to chase clarity, to build momentum, to create results so undeniable, nobody can ignore you, even on silent mode. You owe it to yourself to go all in, not halfway, not sometimes, fully, relentlessly, obsessively, because your vision deserves more than your leftovers. It deserves your full presence, your full effort, your full commitment. And the only way to give it that is to eliminate everything that doesn't serve it. So ask yourself what's in the way. What's consuming your time but giving you nothing in return? What's pulling your attention when you should be locked in? Identify it. Remove it. Replace it with habits that build you, people that challenge you, environments that elevate you. That's the formula. That's how you break free from distraction and enter the flow state of execution. And once you feel that, once you taste the clarity of pure focus, you'll never go back. You'll become addicted to progress. You'll start living like someone who respects their own time. And that respect will echo in every result you create. Because when your mind is clear, your path becomes unstoppable. The clock is ticking. The noise is constant. But your focus, that's your weapon. Use it. Train it. Sharpen it. And then aim it at your goals like your life depends on it. Because it does. If this spoke to something in you, it's because you're ready. You're not meant to live distracted. You're meant to build, to lead, to grow. So start today. Clear the noise. Protect your focus. And execute on what matters. Until the results speak so loudly, you don't have to.
Chapter 9. Take responsibility for your actions and decisions daily. No one is coming to save you. And the moment you finally accept that is the moment your real life begins. We live in a world that's addicted to blame. Everywhere you look, people are pointing fingers at the system, at their childhood, at their boss, at their past.
But here's the brutal truth. As long as you keep blaming something outside of you, you give up your power to change. You stay stuck, waiting for someone else to fix what only you can fix. And that's why so many people feel helpless. Because they've handed over the keys to their own life. They've become victims of their own story. You have to make a choice. Do you want to keep repeating the same excuses, or do you want to take back control and rewrite your future? Because you can't have both. You can't grow while avoiding responsibility. You can't evolve while blaming your circumstances. And you can't change your life until you own every part of it, even the parts that make you uncomfortable. This isn't about guilt. It's not about shame. It's about ownership. The kind of radical ownership that says, if it's in my life, I allowed it. If I want something different, I need to make different decisions. That mindset is power. It means you stop waiting for permission. You stop negotiating with procrastination. You stop entertaining the lie that your current situation is anyone else's fault. Because every decision you make either moves you forward or pulls you back. Every action either builds your future or buries it. There is no neutral. There is no pause button. Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Some people spend years blaming their environment, their upbringing, their genetics. But those are not your destiny. They're just your starting point. What you do from here, that's what defines you. That's where your identity is forged. In the choices you make when no one's watching. In how you respond when things fall apart. In whether you rise or whether you fold. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. But you are responsible for how you respond to them. You are responsible for whether you keep repeating them or whether you rise above them. And no one can do that part for you. Not your mentor, not your family, not your friends, only you. And I know that's heavy. I know it's hard to look in the mirror and say, this is on me. But that's the path to freedom. That's the moment you stop being a slave to circumstance and start becoming the architect of your future. It's not about being perfect. It's about being accountable. It's about waking up every day and asking yourself, what am I doing today to create the life I say I want? You don't have to have all the answers. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to stop running from the truth. You need to look at your results, your health, your money, your relationships, your mindset, and take ownership. Not blame, not excuses, ownership. Because the moment you own it, you can change it. But you cannot change what you refuse to take responsibility for. And this isn't something you do once. It's something you do daily. You don't just take responsibility on Mondays and then coast the rest of the week. You take responsibility every single day for your words, for your actions, for your energy. You hold yourself to a higher standard, even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable. You start catching yourself in the small moments. When you're about to complain. When you're tempted to quit. When you feel the urge to blame. You stop and you ask yourself, what's my part in this? What decision did I make that brought me here? And what can I do right now to move forward? That shift, those micro decisions, that's where real power lives. That's where confidence is built. Because when you know that you're the one steering the ship, you stop fearing the waves. You stop looking for rescue boats. You take the wheel and you steer, even through the storm. And when you live that way, everything changes. You stop chasing validation because you're too busy building value. You stop waiting for motivation because you're fueled by discipline. You stop needing other people to change because you're too focused on changing yourself. That's the secret. That's the key. Responsibility is freedom in disguise. When you own your life, no one can take it from you. When you own your effort, your energy, your direction, then even failure becomes fuel. Even setbacks become stepping stones. Think about it. How many times have you given your power away? How many times have you said, "I can't because of them," or "It's not my fault," or "That's just how it is"? Every time you do that, you lock yourself in a cage and hand someone else the key. But you don't have to live that way. You can stop today. You can take that key back and open the door. It starts by telling the truth. Brutal, honest truth. Not to shame yourself, but to free yourself. Because the more honest you are about where you are, the more power you have to get where you want to go. Lies keep you stuck. Truth sets you free. And no one knows your truth better than you. You know when you're making excuses. You know when you're playing small. You know when you're avoiding the hard thing. And the longer you deny it, the more you suffer. But the moment you face it, the suffering starts to dissolve, because now you're in motion. Now you're in control. And this isn't about doing everything alone. It's about knowing that even when people help you, it's still your responsibility to act, to execute, to stay consistent. Support is powerful, but it doesn't replace self-responsibility. Nothing does. So how do you start? Simple. Stop saying, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What am I going to do about it?" That's the question that creates movement. That's the question that builds resilience. That's the question that separates those who win from those who wish. You want a better life? Take better actions. You want more results? Make better decisions. And if you mess up, own it. Don't hide. Don't deflect. Own it. Learn. Adjust. Grow. That's how leaders operate. That's how winners think. They don't run from mistakes. They rise from them. And the most powerful part, the moment you start living this way, you inspire others to do the same. Your commitment to responsibility becomes contagious. Your example becomes leadership, not because you're perfect, but because you're real, because you're accountable, because you refuse to be a victim. Imagine what your life could look like if you stopped waiting, if you stopped avoiding, if you woke up every day and said, "Today I own everything. My time, my attitude, my decisions, my results." That kind of mindset creates miracles. That kind of mindset builds momentum that nothing can stop. You don't need a new year. You don't need a perfect plan. You need to take responsibility for what you have right now. Use it. Maximize it. Elevate it. And if you fall short, don't beat yourself up. Just own it, learn, and get back in the game. Because that's what winners do. They fall, they fail, they stumble, but they never stay down. They rise. They recalibrate. They take responsibility for the next step. And the next, until the momentum becomes unstoppable. So ask yourself, what have you been avoiding? What area of your life have you been blaming on others? Where have you been pretending it's not your fault when deep down you know you had a part to play? Face it, own it, and then change it. You don't need anyone's permission, just your decision. This is your life. This is your time. You've waited long enough. You've blamed long enough. Now it's time to rise, to lead, to show up like everything depends on you, because it does. And when you do, you won't just transform your own life. You'll become the kind of person who elevates everyone around you. A leader, a warrior, a force of nature. Not because you were born that way, but because you made the decision to take full responsibility and never look back. Now go, own your day, Own your choices, own your future, and never again let someone else write the story that belongs to you.
Chapter 10. Harness your energy to fuel your personal transformation. You are sitting on a power you've barely begun to understand, and the only reason your life hasn't changed yet is because you've been wasting that power on things that don't move you forward. Energy is your most valuable currency. Not time, not money. Energy, because with energy you can create, you can build, you can transform. But when your energy is scattered, drained, or hijacked by distractions and doubt, you start living small. You start surviving instead of thriving. You start reacting instead of creating. And that is the silent killer of dreams. You wake up tired not just because you didn't sleep enough, but because you've been carrying mental baggage you never needed. You scroll for hours thinking it's rest, but all it does is steal your clarity. You say yes to things that don't align with your purpose, and then you wonder why you feel so off. That is energy leakage. That is self-sabotage in disguise. And if you don't take control of it, it will keep you stuck in cycles of exhaustion and mediocrity. But here's the truth that changes everything. Your energy is not just something you have, it's something you generate. And when you learn to direct it like a weapon, when you channel it toward what actually matters, your entire life starts to shift. This isn't about working harder. It's about becoming smarter with your energy. Every thought you think, every decision you make, every conversation you entertain, it either fuels you or drains you. And most people never audit that. They never stop to ask, is this helping me grow or is this killing my momentum? And that's exactly why they stay stuck. You can't transform your life with half-charged batteries. You can't rewrite your story while giving your best energy to people and habits that keep you in your old chapter. You have to become intentional. You have to become ruthless. You have to become someone who protects their energy like it's sacred, because it is. Every dream you have, every goal you're chasing, every version of you that's waiting to be born, it's all on the other side of consistent energy. Not random bursts, not occasional motivation, but steady, focused, intentional energy. That's the engine of transformation. So how do you harness it? How do you stop bleeding energy into the wrong places and start using it to build the life you keep saying you want? Start with your mind, because your thoughts are the first place energy is either generated or wasted. Every time you overthink, every time you replay the past, every time you spiral into doubt, you're burning fuel, you're draining your mental battery. And you have to catch it. You have to become someone who interrupts the spiral, who says, no, not today. I'm not feeding that thought. I'm not giving my power away like that again. Then look at your body. Your body is not separate from your mind. It's the physical engine that powers everything. And yet so many people treat it like an afterthought. They don't move it. They don't fuel it. They ignore its signals. And then they wonder why they feel sluggish, foggy, disconnected. If you want to transform, you have to respect the vessel that carries your purpose. You have to give it movement, nourishment, rest, strength. Because when your body is alive, your spirit ignites. But it's not just about the physical or the mental. It's also about your emotional energy. Who are you letting into your world? What conversations are you tolerating? What environments are you subjecting yourself to that slowly eat away at your power? Every time you stay in a place that drains you, you delay your growth. Every time you absorb negativity from people who refuse to grow, you slow yourself down. You don't owe anyone your energy. You don't have to keep proving yourself to people who will never see you. You don't have to shrink
to keep the peace in rooms you've outgrown. You have a purpose, and your energy was meant to serve that purpose. But it won't if you keep spending it on guilt, shame, distractions, drama. You have to clear space. You have to take a hard look at what's been stealing your fire. And then you have to start saying no. Not because you're mean, but because you're finally choosing yourself. Imagine this. What if every single day you woke up and chose to channel your energy into the person you want to become? What if instead of reacting to life, you decided to shape it? What if every time you felt low, instead of escaping into a screen or a bad habit, you took that energy and turned it into fuel? That's possible. That's real. But it only happens when you stop leaking your energy on things that don't align. And you already know what those things are. You've felt it in your gut. You've heard that inner voice saying, "This isn't it. This is not where your fire belongs." Listen to that voice. Trust it. Because it's guiding you home. This is the moment you get honest. Where has your energy been going? What habits are slowly killing your spark? What thoughts are robbing you of clarity? What people drain you more than they empower you? What choices are keeping you on repeat? Be honest. Not to shame yourself, but to free yourself. Because nothing changes until you do. And the first change is awareness. The second is action. You need both. You need to see the truth, and then move differently. Talk differently. Think differently. Protect your mornings. Clean up your nights. Fuel your body. Declutter your space. Guard your mind. Stop tolerating the things that lower your vibration, and start doing the things that raise it. This doesn't require perfection. It requires commitment, progress, clarity. It requires choosing your energy over your excuses. It requires waking up every day and saying, "I'm building something. I'm becoming someone. And I'm not wasting another ounce of energy on what doesn't align with that mission." Because here's the secret. Once you protect your energy, you gain clarity. Once you gain clarity, you unlock momentum. Once you build momentum, you become unstoppable. But it all starts with energy. Every breakthrough you've ever prayed for is on the other side of how you manage and direct your energy. You were not born to be tired all the time. You were not born to just survive. You were born to create, to lead, to move, to ignite. But that flame needs fuel. And that fuel comes from disciplined energy management. From deciding who you are. From aligning with that decision every single day. And it's not just about big dramatic changes. It's about the small ones. The daily ones. Choosing movement over laziness. Choosing water over sugar. Choosing silence over noise. Choosing presence over distraction. Choosing purpose over comfort. Over and over again. Every small choice adds up. And over time, you either build power, or you build weakness. You either become someone who's lit up from within, or someone who's constantly chasing energy from the outside. You know which path leads to transformation. You know which version of you you're tired of being. So make a decision. Not next week. Not next month. Right now. Decide that your energy matters more than your excuses. Decide that you're done with self-sabotage. Decide that from this moment forward, your energy will serve your growth, not your distractions. And when it gets hard, and it will, you remind yourself energy is a choice. Focus is a choice. Boundaries are a choice. And so is your transformation. No one can harness your energy for you. No one can rewire your life from the outside. It has to come from within. It has to come from a deep, unshakable commitment to yourself. A promise that you will no longer pour your power into things that don't pour back into you. Your energy is sacred. Treat it that way.
protect it, elevate it, direct it, because when you do, you will become someone no one can ignore. Not because you're loud, not because you're flashy, but because your energy will speak louder than words. Let the world feel that energy. Let them feel your commitment. Let them see the version of you that's been hiding behind exhaustion and excuses for too long. Now is your time. Reclaim your fire. Build your momentum. And use your energy to build the life you were always meant to live. The one that's waiting on the other side of your daily decisions. And if you're ready to go all in, if you're ready to stop surviving and start transforming, then it's time to take that first step. Not tomorrow, not later. Now, tap into your fire. Focus your energy. Build your new life. One powerful choice at a time.
Chapter 11. Challenge your limits by pushing past your comfort zone. Most people live their entire lives on autopilot, not because they can't grow, but because they're afraid to feel uncomfortable. If you're feeling stuck right now, it's not because you lack talent. It's not because you're not smart enough or capable enough. It's because you've allowed comfort to become your master. You've trained your brain to avoid challenge, to stay safe, to repeat what's familiar, even when that familiarity is slowly draining your spirit. You don't grow in places where everything feels easy. You grow when you do what your mind tells you to avoid. You grow when you willingly walk into discomfort, stare it in the face, and keep moving anyway. That's where your next level lives. Not in books, not in plans, not in talking about change, but in stepping into the fire of challenge and pushing beyond every story you've told yourself about your limits. Your comfort zone is your invisible prison. And the craziest part, you built it. Every excuse, every doubt, every moment you chose safety over risk, it all laid another brick in the wall around your potential. And now, you feel like you're suffocating. Not because life is unfair, but because deep down, you know you were made for more, but you keep choosing less. The life you want doesn't live in the familiar. It doesn't exist in the routines that keep you small. It's on the other side of that hard thing you've been avoiding. That conversation, that discipline, that risk, that challenge. That's where freedom starts. The reason you haven't felt alive in a while is because you haven't done anything that scares you. You haven't chased something that demanded more of you. You've been trying to grow without getting uncomfortable. And that's not how real transformation works. Growth is pain. Growth is friction. Growth is choosing the thing that stretches you instead of the thing that soothes you. Think about every moment you've been proud of yourself. Every time you earned something real. Every time you proved something to yourself. None of those moments came easy. They came through resistance, through doubt, through struggle, through fear, and you pushed anyway. That's what made it meaningful. That's what gave it weight. So let me ask you, when was the last time you did something that truly scared you? When was the last time you put yourself in a position where failure was possible, but so was growth? That's the space you need to be in more often. Because every time you choose safety over challenge, you shrink. And every time you choose challenge over safety, you expand. The discomfort is the doorway. Walk through it. But here's the truth, no one tells you. Your mind will fight you. It's wired to protect you from anything uncertain, anything painful, anything unfamiliar. It will tell you to stop, to wait, to sit back. It will come up with 1,000 reasons why now is not the time. Why it's too hard, why you're not ready. But those are not reasons, they are lies, mental traps. And the longer you believe them, the longer you stay stuck in a life that doesn't challenge you or excite you. Your breakthrough won't come when you feel ready. It'll come when you act in spite of not feeling ready. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in the presence of fear. It's saying, yes, this is uncomfortable. Yes, I might fail. Yes, it's going to be hard. But I'm doing it anyway. You're not supposed to feel confident before the challenge. Confidence is built by doing the hard thing. You can't wait for confidence to arrive. You have to earn it through repetition, through trial, through showing up again and again and again. That's how you evolve. But you have to give yourself permission to be a beginner, to look awkward, to feel unsure, to stumble. Most people never grow because they want to look good more than they want to get better. They avoid struggle because they're afraid of how it will make them appear, and that fear keeps them average. You can't impress people and grow at the same time. Choose growth. Your current limits aren't fixed. They're just the edge of your current pattern. But you can push that edge further, day by day, by leaning into the things that make you uncomfortable. That's how athletes train. That's how entrepreneurs build. That's how warriors sharpen themselves. They don't wait for motivation. They train through resistance. They get addicted to the process of becoming, not the comfort of staying the same. You want to be stronger. Lift heavier thoughts. Handle harder conversations. Sit with your emotions instead of numbing them. Wake up earlier than your excuses. Show up on the days you feel weak. That's where strength is built, in the trenches of discomfort. You're not stuck because life is too hard. You're stuck because you've stopped challenging yourself. You've built a life around ease, around routine, around doing what feels familiar. And that comfort is now a cage. One that you have the key to, but the key only works if you're willing to unlock it with action. So start small. You don't need to flip your life overnight, but you need to move in the direction of challenge. Every day, do one thing that stretches you, one thing that makes you uncomfortable, one thing that breaks your routine and forces you to rise. That's how you train your nervous system. That's how you build grit. That's how you rewire your brain to stop fearing discomfort and start embracing it. Because discomfort isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. It shows you where your work is, where your weakness hides, where your potential lives. And the more you lean into it, the more it rewards you. With strength, with clarity, with power. You'll never know who you really are until you challenge the version of you that's been coasting. You'll never feel fully alive until you stretch yourself so far that your old self can't follow you anymore. That's what transformation feels like. It feels like loss at first, loss of comfort, loss of certainty, loss of identity. But that's how rebirth begins. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you move closer to the person you were meant to be. Every time you take the harder path, you leave behind the version of you that was built on fear. And every step you take into the unknown, you collect power, experience, wisdom, resilience. Stop waiting for life to force you to grow. Force yourself. Decide right now that you're done living inside a comfort zone that no longer fits who you're becoming. Decide that you're going to seek challenge, not avoid it. That you're going to break the habits that keep you soft. That you're going to build yourself into someone who thrives under pressure, not someone who breaks when things get tough. And it won't be easy. But that's the point, because easy won't change you. Easy won't toughen you. Easy won't stretch you. And easy won't fulfill you. What fulfills you is knowing you gave your all, that you faced your fears, that you challenged your own story, and rewrote your identity through consistent uncomfortable action. That's what builds pride. That's what creates confidence. That's what makes life meaningful. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need to feel fearless. You just need to take the first step. and then the next one, and then the next, until you wake up one day and realize you've become someone powerful, disciplined, focused, and unrecognizable to your former self. That version of you, the one who shows up no matter what, the one who runs toward challenge instead of away from it. That version of you is waiting, but you'll never meet them if you keep choosing what's easy. So do it now, not tomorrow, not next week. Now push your limits, face the resistance, enter the discomfort, break the cycle, and keep going until comfort is no longer your default, but challenge is your new home. Because the more you choose growth, the more life opens up to you. New opportunities, new strength, new levels, but you only earn those levels by passing through the fire. You're not here to coast. You're here to conquer, to break barriers, to redefine what's possible. You've been given one shot at life. Don't waste it playing small just because small feels safe. Take the risk. Make the leap. Walk straight into the discomfort and let that be the place you finally wake up. Challenge your limits. Push past your comfort zone and watch how your entire life starts to transform before your eyes. Now go. Take the first step. Be bold. Be relentless. And never look back.
Chapter 12. Create a routine that maximizes productivity and growth. You are not tired. You're just unorganized, undisciplined, and overwhelmed by a life you haven't structured to serve your potential. Every day you wake up with 100 things pulling at your attention. You check your phone. You scroll through chaos. You react. You chase time instead of leading it. And deep down you know something's wrong. You're not lazy. You just lack a system. You've never designed your days to reflect the greatness you're capable of. You let your hours slip by, hoping productivity will magically show up, hoping motivation will save you, but it won't. What will save you is a routine so intentional, so powerful, that it forces you to level up whether you feel like it or not. You can't grow if your life is built on randomness. You can't win if every day looks different, if every moment is decided by impulse, if every action is guided by mood instead of mission. Your routine is not a prison, it's your liberation. It's the difference between staying stuck and building a life of real progress. It's not about perfection, it's about rhythm, structure, clarity. It's about showing up so consistently that your future becomes inevitable. Let me tell you what nobody told you when you were lost. Your success is not waiting in a single lucky moment. It's hiding inside your daily habits. The boring ones, the disciplined ones, the ones nobody sees, the ones you don't post about. The invisible moments when you wake up on time, when you train your body, when you sit down to work without distraction, when you invest in your growth, instead of escaping into mindless comfort. Those tiny, consistent moments, they build your destiny. Most people never create a routine because they don't believe in their future. They live day to day, floating through time, convincing themselves that they'll get serious one day. But there is no one day. There is only the schedule you build today. And if you don't take control of your time, someone else will. Distractions will. Other people's priorities will. The world will consume your attention if you don't defend it with your life. You don't need to overhaul everything overnight. You just need to start with clarity. Who do you want to become? What does that version of you do every single day? Not once in a while. Not when they feel good. Every day. That's your blueprint. Your job is to bring that vision into reality through action. One decision at a time. 1 hour at a time. You don't wait to feel like it. You build systems that don't care how you feel. Your mornings set the tone. That first hour after waking up, it's your launch pad. If you give it away to distractions, your entire day falls out of alignment.
But if you own it, if you move with purpose, if you plan with clarity, if you train your mind and body to lock in, then every hour that follows bends to your will. You become unstoppable. Not because you're always inspired, but because your system is stronger than your excuses. You don't rise by motivation, you rise by automation. The person who gets more done isn't more talented, they've just built better habits, they've designed a life that aligns with their goals, they've created guardrails that keep them focused. You're not falling behind because you're incapable. You're falling behind because your routine is built on reaction instead of intention. Look at your schedule. Does it reflect your values, your ambition, your vision, or does it reflect your fear, your distraction, your uncertainty? Every minute you waste is a vote against the future you say you want. Every productive minute is a vote for it. The results don't lie. They're shaped by the invisible decisions you make every day when no one's watching. You need anchors, rituals, systems that simplify success. Stop relying on willpower. It runs out. Start building environments that make your best behaviors automatic. Keep your workspace clean. Turn off your phone when you work. Set alarms for your most important tasks. Block your calendar for focus time. Eliminate decisions that drain your mental energy. Design your life so well that success becomes the path of least resistance. And listen, life won't always go as planned. That's why your routine needs to be flexible, not fragile. Build it like a muscle, not a cage. Some days will go off track. That's normal, but you don't collapse. You reset. You return. Because discipline isn't about being perfect, it's about being committed. Productivity isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most, with consistency. And growth isn't about sudden change, it's about compounding small wins over time. Your routine should reflect both. Build time into your day for your body, your mind, your mission, even if it's 20 minutes. That's where momentum starts. That's where self-respect is forged. Not in the intensity but in the repetition. The most successful people in the world aren't magical. They're strategic. They guard their time like it's their most sacred resource, because it is. They wake up with purpose. They execute without needing constant inspiration. They've trained themselves to act. And the more they act, the more motivated they feel. Motivation follows action, always. So what does your future self need from you right now? Discipline, simplicity, consistency. Cut the noise. Stop chasing hacks. Focus on a daily rhythm that supports who you want to become. Wake up, move your body, eat with intention, block time for deep work, review your goals, read something that sharpens you, and end the day with reflection. That alone will separate you from 99% of people who live in chaos and confusion. You'll feel resistance at first. That's normal. Your mind is addicted to comfort and distraction. But every day you follow your routine, you rewire your brain, you create a new identity. You become someone who finishes what they start. Someone who shows up no matter what. Someone who earns their success instead of waiting for it to arrive. The truth is, you don't need more time. You need better structure. You need fewer distractions. You need to stop saying yes to everything that steals your focus. Every time you pick up your phone when you should be working, every time you binge content instead of building your vision, you are trading long-term fulfillment for short-term stimulation. And it's killing your progress. Your routine is how you take your power back. It's how you reclaim your time. It's how you go from overwhelmed and reactive to calm and purposeful. And once you feel the freedom that structure gives you, you'll never go back to the chaos you used to call normal. Make your life predictable where it matters, so you can be powerful where it counts. A strong routine doesn't make life boring. It makes you unstoppable. It clears your mental fog. It sharpens your mind. It gives your day meaning and flow. You stop guessing what to do. You just do it. So starting today, stop waking up like it doesn't matter. Stop drifting. Stop hoping. And start building. Build a system that reflects your greatness. One that forces growth. One that multiplies your time. One that makes excuses irrelevant. Your future is waiting on the other side of structure. The version of you that crushes goals, that feels sharp and focused, that walks with purpose, that version only emerges when you create a routine that demands it. Build it now, protect it daily, and watch your life transform from chaos to clarity. Now is your time. Show up with discipline, master your routine, and take back control of your days before they disappear.
Chapter 13. Learn from failure and turn setbacks into growth opportunities. You didn't fail, you were forged. That moment when everything collapsed, when the dream slipped through your fingers, when the plan unraveled and the world felt cold and empty, that wasn't the end. That was your rebirth. And I need you to hear this now. Your setback wasn't a sign that you're not good enough. It was an invitation to become something greater than you've ever been. You weren't rejected. You were redirected. You weren't defeated. You were being prepared. Most people spend their lives avoiding failure, terrified of making a mistake, afraid of looking foolish, so they play it safe. They shrink their vision. They settle for comfort. But not you. You're here because there's something in you that refuses to settle. There's a part of you burning quietly in the dark that wants to rise, that wants to learn, that wants to take the hit and come back sharper, wiser, stronger. That's your true self. That's the part you need to trust, because failure doesn't destroy you. Hiding from it does. Denying it does. Avoiding it does. But when you face it, when you stand tall in the ashes of your disappointment and say, "What is this teaching me?" that's when you begin to grow in ways no success could ever offer. Think about it. Every person who ever accomplished anything real has fallen. They've been rejected, broken, embarrassed, mocked. They've doubted themselves, lost money, lost time, lost people. But the difference between them and the rest of the world is this: they didn't stay down, they didn't quit, they studied their fall, they extracted the lesson, they rebuilt with more wisdom, more hunger, more strategy. Your pain is not the enemy, your pain is a messenger. It's trying to show you what needs to change. It's exposing the weakness in your mindset, the cracks in your process, the blind spots in your character. And if you're brave enough to look at it without flinching, it will give you power. You will see clearly. You will evolve. But most people don't want clarity. They want comfort. They want the illusion that everything's fine. They don't want to admit they messed up. They'd rather blame someone else, or worse, they blame themselves so brutally that they paralyze their own growth. That's not strength. That's fear wearing pride as a mask. You can't grow if you don't own your role in the fall. Owning it isn't weakness. It's freedom. When you say, "This happened, and I take responsibility," you stop waiting for the world to fix you. You step into control. You become the architect of your comeback. You stop being a victim and start becoming a creator. And from that place, nothing can stop you. Think of the strongest people you admire. Every one of them carries scars. Emotional, financial, spiritual. And those scars, they don't make them weaker. They make them real. They've been in the arena. They've been bloodied. But they didn't retreat. They kept showing up. That's what makes them great. Not perfection. Not ease. But resilience. You have to stop expecting the path to be clean. It won't be.
Growth is messy. Becoming who you're meant to be is brutal. There will be days when you feel lost, when nothing works, when every effort seems pointless. But if you keep going, if you keep learning, adjusting, getting sharper, you will rise. You will outlast the struggle. You will earn a strength that no one can take from you. But it starts with a decision, a choice to reframe failure, not as a dead end, but as data, not as humiliation, but as instruction. Every failure you've had so far has been a classroom. Maybe the lesson was patience, maybe it was preparation, maybe it was humility, maybe it was grit. But I promise you, if you study it, it will give you what you need. And here's the truth, most people miss failure as feedback. It's telling you where you are, out of alignment. It's pointing to what you need to sharpen, but only if you listen, only if you stop whining and start reflecting, only if you stop running and start analyzing. This is your edge, the ability to learn faster than everyone else. If you can look at your losses and see them as lessons, you accelerate your growth. You collapse the timeline. You become more intelligent, more self-aware, more unstoppable. While others waste time crying over their mistakes, you're turning them into weapons. That's how you win. Not by avoiding the fall, but by turning the fall into fuel. And let's talk about the emotional side, because failure doesn't just hurt your mind, it breaks your spirit. You start to question who you are. You wonder if you even deserve success. You compare yourself to others who seem ahead. You spiral into self-doubt. I get it. I've been there. But listen to me closely. That voice in your head telling you to quit, that's not truth. That's fear. That's fatigue. That's the residue of pain, not the reality of your potential. You are still capable, even when you feel broken, even when you feel behind, even when nothing makes sense. Especially then, because that's when your next level is being born. That's when your future self is watching, wondering, will you fight for me? Will you keep showing up when it's hard? Will you refuse to let this failure define you? Make the answer yes. Make the pain worth it. Make the setback your teacher, not your jailer. You don't grow by avoiding discomfort. You grow by leaning into it, by getting curious. What went wrong? What did I miss? Where was I unprepared? What belief did I hold that failed me? What strategy didn't work? And what will I try next? This is how you turn failure into transformation. This is how you rise when others stay stuck. And you don't need 100 wins. You need one insight, one breakthrough, one shift, one lesson from your failure that rewires your approach. That makes you bolder, smarter, more focused. That's the power of failure. It sharpens the edge of your determination. So from this moment on, stop running from your mistakes. Sit with them, study them, let them teach you. The more you understand them, the faster you evolve. You stop repeating the cycle. You start upgrading your identity. Because you're not just here to succeed. You're here to grow. You're here to become the kind of person who doesn't break under pressure, who doesn't crumble under loss, who doesn't retreat into comfort. You're here to become someone unshakable. And that happens through failure, not around it, through it. That means you can't waste this moment. Whatever setback you're dealing with right now, use it. Don't numb it. Don't hide it. Face it. Find the lesson. Build something from it. Let it hurt, then let it build you. Let it remind you that you are not done, that you still have fight left, that your story is not finished. You are in the middle, not the end. You are in the process, not the failure. You are in the refining fire, not the ashes. And when you come out of this, because you will, you won't just be smarter, you'll be braver. You'll have a story that inspires others. You'll walk with a confidence that only comes from knowing you've survived the fall and turned it into strength. So don't quit now. Don't stop because you stumbled. Don't waste another second wishing it had gone differently. It didn't. And maybe that's the best thing that could have happened. Maybe this failure is the doorway to the strength you've been praying for. Now walk through it. You fell. So what? You're not done. You're rebuilding with more fire, more hunger, more precision. And that's the version of you the world needs to see. Keep going. The comeback is always stronger when the fall teaches you how to rise.
Chapter 14. Surround yourself with positive influences that elevate you. Some people in your life are quietly killing your potential, and you don't even see it happening. It's not the obvious enemies. It's not the loud critics. It's the subtle, slow-dripping negativity of people who don't believe in you, don't challenge you, and don't want you to rise above the level they're stuck at. It's the voices that joke when you speak about your dreams, the silence when you finally take a step forward, the small comments that sound like advice but are actually disguised discouragement. You're not crazy for feeling heavy around them. You're not imagining the energy shift. It's real, and it's costing you more than you realize. The truth is, you will never reach your highest level if you're constantly surrounded by people who don't reflect your future. It doesn't matter how smart you are, how hungry you are, how disciplined you are. If your circle is full of doubt, laziness, bitterness, gossip or envy, you're being poisoned every day. Your thoughts are being shaped. Your standards are being lowered. Your vision is being dimmed. And worst of all, your confidence is being eroded by people who don't even know they're dragging you down. Or worse, they do. You become like the people you spend the most time with. That's not a motivational quote. It's a scientific reality. Mirror neurons, subconscious modeling, emotional contagion. You absorb their beliefs, their habits, their mindset, their fears. If you're around complainers, you start finding more things to complain about. If you're around action takers, you start moving with urgency. If you're around people who normalize mediocrity, you stop reaching for excellence. But when you're around people who expect greatness, something inside you rises. You speak differently. You think bolder. You take sharper actions. You hold yourself to a higher standard. Why? Because energy is contagious. That's why it's not enough to just be positive. You need to be surrounded by positivity. You need to place yourself in environments that uplift you, conversations that stretch you, relationships that challenge you to be more. And yes, that means letting go of people who can't come with you. That's hard. That's painful, but it's necessary. There are people who love you but will never support your growth, not because they're evil, but because your growth triggers their own insecurity. Your ambition shines a light on their comfort. Your progress reminds them of their stagnation, and instead of rising with you, they'll try to keep you where they feel safe. That's not love. That's fear pretending to care. You have to protect your vision with your life. You have to guard your mind like a fortress, because every conversation you entertain is shaping you. Every influence you allow is molding your future. Every connection you maintain is either watering your potential or draining it. Ask yourself this: who in your life challenges you to level up, not just emotionally, but in discipline, mindset and consistency? Who calls you out when you're slipping? Who celebrates your progress without envy? Who pushes you to dream bigger but act smarter? That's your tribe. That's your power circle. And if you don't have one,
Build it. Start today. You don't need 100 people. You need a few with the right mindset. People who are building, people who are healing, people who are improving themselves, not escaping themselves, people who are honest enough to give you truth, and kind enough to believe in your potential even when you forget it. And sometimes that means you'll have to be alone for a while. That's okay. Solitude is not a punishment. It's preparation. It's a sacred time to reset your standards, rebuild your mindset, and reconnect with your mission. Don't fear the silence. Use it. In the quiet you get clear. You realize how many of your thoughts weren't even yours. They were echoes of other people's limitations. This is where everything begins to shift. When you decide to stop tolerating energy that drains you, when you start curating your environment as carefully as you curate your goals, when you understand that success isn't just about what you do, it's about what you allow around you. It's not just about what you chase, it's about what you no longer entertain. Stop apologizing for wanting better energy around you. Stop shrinking to keep people comfortable. Stop dimming your light because others don't want to evolve. You're not arrogant for protecting your peace. You're not selfish for demanding alignment. You're not rude for distancing yourself from chaos. You're just finally honoring the part of you that's trying to grow. And when you start rising, when you start building new habits, routines, standards, something powerful happens. You attract better people. You magnetize others who are also rising. You become a beacon. You don't chase alignment, it finds you, but only after you've made the internal shift that says, I no longer settle for small minds around my big goals. There's a reason why elite performers are obsessed with their environment. Because they know mindset doesn't live in isolation. It's influenced by everything, the conversations you have, the content you consume, the energy you entertain. If you're listening to negativity every day, you're programming yourself to think smaller. If you're surrounded by ambition, you're naturally going to aim higher. This is not about fake positivity. It's about intentional influence. So if you're serious about growth, take inventory. Who are you giving your energy to? Who gets access to your mind? Who are you allowing to shape your beliefs, your confidence, your focus? And most importantly, are they helping you become who you're meant to be? You can't pour into your goals if you're constantly being emptied by the people around you. You can't stay consistent if your environment is full of distractions. You can't unlock your full power if your energy is being diluted by low-frequency influences. This is why discipline alone is not enough. You need alignment. You need reinforcement. You need people who see you not as you are, but as you could be. And here's the twist. Sometimes those people don't come into your life until you've made the hard decisions, until you've said goodbye to what no longer fits, until you've cleared space for something better. The universe doesn't reward hesitation, it rewards clarity. When you decide fully, boldly, unapologetically, that you are no longer available for average energy, you signal that you're ready for more. And life responds, but you have to trust that process, even when it's lonely, even when it hurts, even when you second-guess yourself. Growth requires isolation before elevation, but I promise you, on the other side of that discomfort is a new level of clarity, strength, and alignment you've never felt before. You are not here to blend in, you are here to rise. And to rise you must surround yourself with those who are climbing, not coasting, who are focused, not distracted, who are lifting, not pulling. That's the secret. No one tells you your environment isn't just a reflection of your life. It's the architect of it, so build wisely. Choose intentionally. protect aggressively, because your dreams are too important to be infected by doubt. Your goals are too sacred to be surrounded by jealousy. Your purpose is too powerful to be dimmed by people who don't get it. It's time to level up your circle. Time to align your life with the energy that matches your future, not your past. And if no one around you is clapping, clap for yourself. If no one sees your vision, see it for yourself. If no one is walking with you, walk anyway. Because eventually, if you stay locked in, stay focused, stay consistent, you'll meet people who speak your language, match your energy, and reflect your growth. And when that happens, everything accelerates. Your life becomes momentum, your growth becomes exponential, and your vision becomes reality. So here's your challenge: audit your circle, upgrade your environment, and commit starting right now to only allowing in what aligns with where you're going. The life you want is waiting, but first you must become unavailable to anything that doesn't elevate you. Let this be the moment you stop entertaining what drains you and start surrounding yourself with what empowers you. It's time to rise, and the right people will rise with you.
Chapter 15. Develop emotional intelligence to navigate daily challenges effectively. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. In a world that's constantly shifting, where every day brings new stress, new challenges, and unexpected obstacles, the one thing you can rely on is your emotional response. But here's the harsh reality: if you're not in control of your emotions, they will control you. And when they do, they'll guide your decisions, shape your actions, and ultimately determine your future. The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle isn't talent, it's emotional intelligence. Imagine for a second facing a crisis. Maybe it's a career setback, a personal loss, or a major failure. How do you respond? Do you freeze in panic, give in to frustration, or spiral into negativity? Or do you take a deep breath, gather your thoughts, and make decisions with clarity and calm? The difference between these two responses is emotional intelligence. It's the ability to recognize and understand your emotions, to regulate them, and to use them to make better choices. And it's a skill that will change the course of your life. Emotional intelligence is not something you're born with, it's something you develop. And it's not just about feeling better, it's about feeling better in the right moments, to guide you through challenges and turn them into opportunities. Imagine handling criticism without defensiveness. Picture yourself turning a stressful situation into a learning opportunity instead of a breakdown. Visualize yourself stepping into a difficult conversation with clarity, empathy, and self-control, leaving both parties stronger and more connected. That's the power of emotional intelligence in action. But too many of us go through life thinking that emotions are something to either suppress or let run wild. Some people think that expressing every emotion is healthy. Others think that bottling everything up is the answer. Neither is true. The real key to navigating daily challenges effectively is understanding your emotions, not letting them dictate your actions. This journey begins with awareness. It all starts with being aware of how you feel, not just in the big moments, but in the small, everyday situations. Have you ever reacted impulsively to something, only to regret it later? That's because you weren't aware of your emotions in that moment. Emotional awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. You cannot manage what you don't first acknowledge. So the first step to mastering your emotions is simply noticing them. How do you feel in this moment? Are you stressed, angry, anxious, happy, or excited? What's happening inside you as you face life's challenges? But awareness alone isn't enough. The next step is regulation.
Your emotions don't have to control you. You can take a pause, step back, and breathe before reacting. You can decide how you want to respond, rather than being swept up in the emotional tide. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or pretending everything's fine. It means acknowledging your feelings without letting them take over. When you practice emotional regulation, you create space between your emotions and your actions, giving you the power to choose your response consciously. Now, emotional intelligence isn't just about managing your emotions, it's also about understanding others. Think about the relationships in your life. Whether it's with a spouse, a colleague, a friend, or even a stranger, emotional intelligence allows you to connect on a deeper level. When you can read and understand others' emotions, you can respond with empathy, build stronger bonds, and resolve conflicts with grace. This skill is crucial in both personal and professional relationships because it helps you avoid misunderstandings, de-escalate tensions, and create harmonious interactions. But there's another layer to emotional intelligence that's just as important: using your emotions to fuel positive outcomes. Emotions like anger, frustration, or fear are often viewed as negative forces. But when harnessed correctly, these emotions can become powerful motivators for change. When you feel frustrated, it might be an indication that something isn't right, that you need to make a change. When you feel fear, it can signal that you're stepping into new territory, which is often where growth happens. By learning to use these emotions as signals instead of obstacles, you can transform them into energy that propels you forward rather than holding you back. If you can master emotional intelligence, you will be able to respond to life's inevitable challenges with a sense of control, clarity, and purpose. You'll be able to manage stress, communicate more effectively, and face obstacles without letting them derail your progress. You'll be able to build deeper, more meaningful relationships, and you'll find that your life begins to unfold in a more positive direction. The real power of emotional intelligence lies in its ability to guide you through life's toughest moments. It's what allows you to stay calm in a crisis, to keep perspective when things go wrong, and to make decisions that align with your best interests, rather than your impulses. It's not about being perfect, it's about being aware, in control, and intentional. But developing emotional intelligence isn't something that happens overnight. It takes practice. It takes commitment. But I promise you, the results are worth it. Imagine being able to face your challenges with calmness, composure, and confidence. Imagine waking up each day knowing that no matter what life throws at you, you have the emotional resilience to handle it. That's not just a dream, it's your potential. To get there, you need to make emotional intelligence a daily practice. Start by becoming aware of how you feel throughout the day. Notice when you're triggered, when your emotions are running high, and take a moment to pause before reacting. Practice mindfulness. Spend a few minutes each day checking in with your emotions and clearing your mind. Reflect on the decisions you make when emotions are running high. Did you act in alignment with your goals, or did your emotions steer you off course? You also need to build emotional resilience. This means bouncing back from setbacks instead of being crushed by them. When you face failure, disappointment, or rejection, instead of letting those emotions define you, you learn from them. You use them as stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. Emotional resilience is the ability to recover quickly and move forward with a renewed sense of purpose. It's not about avoiding pain, but about embracing growth, knowing that every experience, good or bad, is an opportunity to learn, evolve, and improve. In your relationships, practice empathy. Seek to understand before being understood. Listen actively, without judgment, and try to feel what the other person is feeling. Respond with compassion and understanding. When you communicate with emotional intelligence, you don't just exchange information, you build trust, respect, and deeper connections. And finally, be patient with yourself. Developing emotional intelligence is a lifelong journey. There will be times when you slip up, when emotions get the best of you, and when you react impulsively. That's okay. What matters is that you keep coming back to the practice. You learn from each experience and use it to improve. You don't let a momentary failure define you, you use it to fuel your growth. The challenges of life will never stop coming, but with emotional intelligence, you will have the tools to navigate them effectively. You will have the clarity to stay calm, the resilience to recover quickly, and the wisdom to respond with grace. Emotional intelligence isn't just about managing your feelings, it's about managing your life. So start now. Take the first step. Become more aware of your emotions. Practice regulation. Build resilience. Connect with others on a deeper level. And above all, remember that your emotional intelligence will be your most powerful tool as you rise above every challenge, turn setbacks into growth, and ultimately achieve the life you've always dreamed of. It's time to take control. It's time to grow emotionally. And it's time to unlock your true potential. Chapter 16. Cultivate gratitude to shift your focus to abundance. What if the key to unlocking the life you've always dreamed of has been right in front of you the whole time, and all it took was a simple shift in your mindset? Every day we wake up with countless opportunities, endless potential, and a world of abundance at our fingertips. Yet, too often, we get trapped in a cycle of scarcity, focusing on what we don't have, what's missing, and what's wrong. But here's the truth. The moment you start cultivating gratitude, everything changes. Gratitude doesn't just shift your focus, it transforms your entire experience of life. It opens the door to abundance that's been waiting for you. Imagine waking up every day feeling empowered, abundant, and filled with purpose. Imagine looking at your life and seeing blessings instead of burdens. That's the power of gratitude. It's not just a feel-good emotion. It's a practice that can change your entire perspective on life. And the best part, it's a choice you can make right now. Most people don't realize that we are conditioned to focus on what's missing in our lives. We've been trained to always want more, to always strive for something bigger, better, or different. And while ambition is important, when it overshadows your ability to appreciate what you have, it creates a sense of constant dissatisfaction. You might achieve your goals, but you'll never feel truly fulfilled. This is where gratitude steps in. Gratitude is the practice of noticing what's good, what's abundant, and what's working in your life right now. It's about shifting your focus from lack to plenty. And when you do this, you unlock an entirely new level of possibility. The universe operates on the principle of energy. What you focus on expands. So when you focus on the good in your life, when you choose to be grateful for what you already have, you begin to attract more of that goodness. It's a simple yet profound law of attraction that can radically change your life. Let me tell you a story. There was a man, much like you, who was stuck in the cycle of dissatisfaction. He was always chasing the next big thing, always thinking about what he didn't have, and always frustrated with what he hadn't yet achieved. No matter how successful he became, it never felt like enough. One day, he decided to try something different. He started practicing gratitude. At first it felt strange. He wasn't used to focusing on what was good in his life. But he persisted. Every morning, he made a list of 3 things he was grateful for, and slowly but surely, something shifted. He began to notice how much he already had. The relationships in his life, the opportunities that had come his way, the small moments of joy he had been overlooking. As he continued to cultivate gratitude, his life began to change. He didn't need to chase success as desperately anymore. He didn't feel constantly dissatisfied. Instead, he began to see the abundance in his life. And the more he focused on that abundance, the more it grew. New opportunities appeared. His relationships deepened. And most importantly, he felt a sense of peace and fulfillment he had never known before. This man discovered a profound truth. Abundance is not something you acquire, it's something you recognize. It's already there, but you have to open your eyes to see it. Gratitude is the lens through which you begin to see the richness of your life. It's not about denying your challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about acknowledging the goodness that's already present in the midst of it all. So how do you cultivate gratitude in a world that constantly pushes you to want more? It starts with a mindset shift. Instead of focusing on the next goal or the next accomplishment, take a moment to look at what you have right now. The relationships you cherish, the lessons you've learned, the health you possess, the roof over your head, all of these things are worthy of gratitude. In fact, the more you practice gratitude, the more you'll see how much there is to be thankful for. But here's the secret. Gratitude isn't just about feeling thankful. It's about actively focusing on the good and choosing to appreciate it every day. It's about training your mind to see opportunity in every challenge, to find the lesson in every hardship, and to recognize the gifts in every moment. The more you practice this, the more your brain rewires itself to focus on abundance instead of lack. When you make gratitude a habit, you begin to see your life in a completely new light. You stop measuring your worth by what you don't have and start measuring it by what you do. You stop waiting for the next thing to happen to feel happy and begin finding joy in the present moment. This is the magic of gratitude. It shifts your energy from scarcity to abundance, from lack to plenty, from struggle to flow. But there's more. Gratitude is a powerful tool for overcoming adversity. When you face challenges, it's easy to get bogged down by negativity and despair. But when you practice gratitude, you can find strength in the midst of difficulty. You begin to see challenges not as setbacks, but as opportunities for growth. You start to understand that every obstacle is a stepping stone toward becoming the person you're meant to be. Gratitude doesn't just change your perspective, it gives you the resilience to keep moving forward, even when times are tough. The greatest part about gratitude is that it's not a passive experience, it's an active choice. Every day, you can decide how you want to perceive your life. You can choose to focus on what's missing, or you can choose to focus on what's already here. You can choose to dwell on the challenges, or you can choose to find the blessings in the struggle. This decision is entirely up to you. And here's the thing, gratitude doesn't just make you feel better, it actually makes you better. Studies have shown that people who practice gratitude regularly experience greater levels of happiness, better physical health, and stronger relationships. They are more resilient in the face of stress, more compassionate toward others, and more likely to achieve their goals. When you focus on what you already have, you stop sabotaging your own happiness. You begin to attract the people, opportunities, and circumstances that align with your abundance mindset. It's time to change your focus. It's time to shift your perspective. Gratitude is the key to unlocking the abundance that's waiting for you. You have the power to transform your life, simply by choosing to focus on what's already here. So take a moment right now, wherever you are, and reflect on all the things you're grateful for. Big or small, these things matter. Your life is already rich with abundance. You just need to open your eyes and see it. Start today. Make gratitude your practice. Begin every morning by writing down 3 things you're thankful for. Feel the energy of gratitude in your heart. Let it fill you up. Carry it with you throughout the day, and notice how it changes your interactions, your mindset, and your life. As you begin to focus on the abundance around you, you'll find that it grows, and when you truly embrace gratitude, you'll unlock a life of infinite possibilities. Remember, abundance isn't something you have to chase, it's something you get to recognize and embrace. And it starts with a simple shift in your mindset. The more grateful you are for what you have, the more the universe will give you to be grateful for. You just have to open your heart and let it in. So take action now. Choose gratitude, choose abundance, and watch your life transform in ways you never thought possible.
Chapter 17. Take ownership of your time and prioritize effectively. Every minute you waste is a minute you can never get back. It's a powerful truth that most people ignore until it's too late. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, yet some people achieve incredible success while others remain stuck. The difference: how they choose to use their time. Time is the most precious resource we have, and once it's gone forever. The question is, how are you spending yours? Too often, we let time slip through our fingers. We get distracted by trivial things, we put off what matters most, and we allow others to control our schedules. The result is a life that feels out of control, with too many moments spent on things that don't move us closer to our goals. But the moment you take ownership of your time, everything changes. The key to achieving anything you want in life, whether it's success, fulfillment, or personal growth, is learning how to prioritize your time effectively. Imagine waking up every day with a clear sense of purpose, knowing exactly what you need to do to move forward. Imagine being in control of your time, rather than letting your time control you. This isn't some far-off dream, it's entirely possible. The only thing standing between you and this reality is the ability to take ownership of your time and make conscious choices about how you spend it. And once you master this, you unlock the power to design your life the way you want it. Most people live their lives on autopilot. They wake up, check their phones, scroll through social media, and go through the motions of the day without ever thinking about how they're spending their time. They let external forces dictate their schedules, whether it's the demands of work, the needs of others, or the constant pull of distractions. This is not ownership. This is living in reaction to the world instead of creating your own reality. When you give your time away to distractions or things that don't align with your goals, you're surrendering control over the most valuable resource you have. Taking ownership of your time means making deliberate, conscious decisions about how you spend each moment. It means saying no to distractions and yes to what truly matters. It means creating a schedule that aligns with your values and your goals, rather than letting the demands of others dictate your life. It's about recognizing that your time is your most valuable asset, and you can't afford to waste it. So, how do you begin to take ownership of your time? It starts with a simple shift in mindset. You need to understand that time isn't something that just happens to you. You can't control the hours in a day, but you can control how you use them. It's all about intentionality. When you begin to live with intention, you stop reacting to life and start creating it. The first step in taking ownership of your time is understanding your priorities. What truly matters to you? What are the things that are most important in your life? You need to get clear on your values and your goals. If you don't know what's important, how can you possibly prioritize it?
Too many people spend their time chasing things that don't align with their true desires. They go after the wrong things because they haven't taken the time to clarify what really matters. Once you know what's important, it's time to start saying no to everything else. This is where most people struggle. We have a hard time saying no to distractions, to commitments that don't serve us, or to things that are good enough but not great. But if you want to take control of your time, you must get comfortable with saying no. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're saying no to something that does. This is a powerful truth. When you say yes to the things that truly matter, you create space for the things that will move you forward. You stop filling your day with trivial tasks and start focusing on what will have the biggest impact. Prioritizing means putting your energy into the areas that will bring you the most reward. It's about doing the hard work now so that you can reap the benefits later. But it's not enough to just say no. You also need to create a system for managing your time. This is where planning and scheduling come in. Time management isn't about rigidly filling every minute of your day. It's about creating a framework that allows you to make the most of your time. It's about setting aside time for your priorities, whether that's work, family, self-care, or personal growth. A well-planned schedule helps you stay on track and ensures that you're consistently working toward your goals. One of the most effective ways to take ownership of your time is to create daily rituals that support your priorities. What are the habits that will set you up for success? These could be as simple as morning routines, dedicated work hours, or time blocks for exercise and relaxation. When you establish these rituals, you take control of your day instead of letting the day control you. You're no longer just reacting to what comes your way, you're actively shaping your day to serve your goals. But even with a plan in place, you're still going to face distractions. Life has a way of throwing unexpected challenges and interruptions your way. The key is to stay focused on your priorities, no matter what. When distractions come up, acknowledge them, but don't let them derail you. You can't avoid all distractions, but you can control how you respond to them. The more you practice staying focused on your goals, the easier it becomes to ignore the things that don't matter. Taking ownership of your time also means being mindful of how you spend your energy. Time is not the only thing you have to manage, it's your energy too. You can't give 100% of your time to something if you don't have the energy to back it up. That's why it's crucial to prioritize self-care and make time for rest. When you're physically and mentally drained, you're not going to be effective in anything you do. Taking care of yourself is not selfish, it's essential for your success. Another important aspect of owning your time is learning to focus on the present moment. We often waste time worrying about the future or regretting the past, but the only time we truly have is now. When you learn to focus on the present, you make the most of each moment. You become more productive, more engaged, and more present in everything you do. The present moment is where your power lies. But ownership doesn't just stop with the day-to-day management of time. It extends to long-term planning as well. You need to set big, audacious goals that align with your values, and then break those goals down into smaller, actionable steps. When you have a clear vision for your future, you're more motivated to take control of your time. Every day becomes a stepping stone toward that bigger vision, and you'll find it easier to stay disciplined and focused on the long-term rewards. Here's the truth: time is not something you can afford to waste. Once it's gone, it's gone. But when you take ownership of your time, you take ownership of your life. You stop letting external forces dictate your schedule, and you start living with intention. You prioritize what matters most, and you make time for the things that will bring you the most fulfillment. So ask yourself, what are you waiting for? Every day is an opportunity to take ownership of your time and shape your future. The power is in your hands. You can keep letting time slip away, or you can start using it to create the life you've always wanted. The choice is yours. Take control of your time, prioritize what matters, and watch how your life transforms. The future you desire is within reach, and it all starts with taking ownership of your most precious resource. Time is yours. Use it wisely.
Chapter 18. Build confidence by celebrating small wins every day. You're one win away from changing everything. What if I told you that the secret to unstoppable confidence isn't some grand achievement, but the small, seemingly insignificant victories you experience every single day? That's right. Every time you get up and do something, no matter how small, you're stacking the building blocks of a future filled with power, self-assurance, and success. But here's the catch. Most people overlook these small wins. They're so focused on the big, flashy results that they forget to celebrate the small steps. Yet, those small steps are the ones that lead to real, lasting confidence. The reason confidence is so elusive for many people is that they tie it only to the big moments, the promotions, the major accomplishments, the moments when they're validated by others. But confidence isn't something that appears out of nowhere. It's built, day by day, through the simple act of recognizing your progress and acknowledging your victories. Every little thing you do right is a step toward greatness. Every moment of effort, no matter how small it seems in the moment, is a win. The trick is learning to recognize those wins and celebrating them. Here's why small wins are so powerful: they compound. When you celebrate the little victories, you're building a positive feedback loop that propels you forward. The more you recognize your progress, the more motivated you become. You start to trust yourself more. You start to feel like you're capable of handling anything that comes your way. It's not about waiting for the big win. It's about learning to appreciate the progress you're making in real time. But let's be honest, celebrating small wins isn't always easy. It's easy to dismiss them, to think they're not important enough to acknowledge. We live in a world that's obsessed with instant gratification and monumental success. Social media shows us highlight reels of other people's victories, making us feel like we're not doing enough or moving fast enough. We start to believe that we need to accomplish something massive to feel proud of ourselves. But that's a dangerous mindset. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt, always chasing something bigger, always feeling like you're not enough. What if I told you that the key to unlocking your true confidence lies in learning to celebrate the small wins, those quiet moments of progress that no one else may even notice? It's about shifting your focus from what you haven't done yet to what you've already accomplished. Think about your day-to-day life. How many moments have you had where you've done something right? Maybe you woke up early and stuck to your routine. Maybe you completed a task at work that's been on your mind for days. Maybe you resisted the temptation to give in to negative self-talk and chose to push forward instead. These are victories, but too often we brush them off. We think, that wasn't a big deal, or I should have done more. But the truth is, those small wins are the key to building unshakable confidence. The reason they're so important is that they're proof of your capability. Every small win you celebrate is a reminder that you're making progress, that you're capable of achieving the things you set out to do. And over time, these little victories add up to something huge. They create momentum, and momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life. When you're moving forward, even in small increments, you build confidence naturally. Think about how you feel when you've accomplished something,
no matter how small. There's a sense of pride, right? That feeling is what confidence is made of. And the more you experience it, the more it becomes ingrained in your sense of self. You start to believe that you can handle anything. You start to trust your abilities more. Confidence isn't some magical feeling that appears overnight. It's the product of consistent effort, and it's built through small wins that you celebrate every single day. But here's the catch: you need to consciously choose to celebrate your small wins. It's not enough to just acknowledge them in passing. You have to take the time to genuinely recognize and honor them. Whether it's taking a moment to smile at yourself in the mirror, saying well done when you complete a task, or rewarding yourself with a little treat, these small moments of acknowledgement are what make all the difference. This is how you rewire your brain to focus on success instead of failure. Every time you celebrate a small win, you're training your mind to look for evidence of progress. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, you start focusing on what's right. And over time, this shift in focus will transform your mindset. You'll stop doubting yourself and start believing that you are capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. Now you might be thinking, that's all well and good, but what if my wins don't feel big enough to celebrate? Here's the truth: there is no such thing as a small win. Every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that you're moving in the right direction. If you've ever run a race, you know that it's not the finish line that makes the difference, it's the first step. Every step you take is a victory, because it's one step closer to your goal. The power of small wins lies in their ability to build self-trust. When you acknowledge your progress, you send a message to yourself that says, I can do this. This builds confidence because it shifts your focus from what you haven't accomplished yet to what you've already achieved. It reminds you that you're capable and that your efforts are not in vain. And when you feel like your efforts are paying off, it's easier to keep going. But let's dig deeper. What happens when you don't celebrate those small wins? When you ignore them or downplay them, you start to feel like you're not making progress, even though you are. You start to believe that you're stuck, or that nothing is changing. This creates a sense of frustration, and over time, it chips away at your confidence. You start to question your abilities and wonder if you're ever going to reach your goals. But the truth is, you are making progress. It's just that you're not paying attention to the evidence right in front of you. So how can you start celebrating small wins today? It starts with being mindful of your progress. Look for the moments where you've done something right, no matter how small. When you catch yourself making progress, take a moment to acknowledge it. Say to yourself, I did that. Feel the pride in that moment. You don't need to wait for someone else to tell you that you've done a good job. You can be your own biggest cheerleader. You might also want to keep a journal where you write down your wins each day. This practice helps you keep track of your progress and gives you something to look back on when you're feeling discouraged. When you see all the small wins you've accumulated, you'll be reminded of just how much you've achieved. In the end, the secret to building confidence is simple. Start celebrating the small wins. Every time you acknowledge your progress, you're building the foundation for unshakable self-belief. You're training your mind to focus on success, not failure. And over time, this practice will transform you into someone who is confident, capable, and unstoppable. So let me ask you, what small win are you going to celebrate today? Don't wait for the big moment. Don't wait for someone else to tell you that you've done well. Take control and celebrate your progress now. Because when you do, you're not just acknowledging a win, you're building the confidence to take on the world. Chapter 19. Reflect daily on your actions to ensure continuous improvement. Every single action you take today shapes the person you'll become tomorrow. You might think that the big decisions, the monumental moments, are what define your life. But the truth is, it's the little, everyday actions that truly shape who you are. Every choice, every movement, every word is an opportunity to either strengthen your path or derail it. If you're not reflecting on your actions daily, you're missing out on the chance to ensure that your life is heading in the direction you want. Most people go through their days on autopilot, reacting to situations rather than consciously shaping their outcomes. They wake up, go through their routine, check off tasks, and by the end of the day, they've done everything they had to do, but haven't thought about why or how they did it. When you don't reflect on your actions, you miss the opportunity to learn from them. You miss the chance to adjust, to fine-tune your approach, and to continue growing. Without reflection, you're not just stagnating, you're losing ground. But with a daily practice of reflection, you unlock a powerful tool for self-improvement that allows you to constantly evolve, improve, and get closer to the person you're meant to become. Reflection is not just about looking back, it's about looking back with purpose, with an intent to learn and grow. It's the habit of turning each day into an opportunity to become better, stronger, and more aligned with your goals. When you reflect, you create a moment of pause, a space between your actions and the results they generate. This space allows you to evaluate, adjust, and refine your approach, ensuring that you're not wasting time on actions that don't serve you. When you make a habit of reflecting daily, you open the door to continuous improvement. Every day becomes an opportunity to course correct. Every mistake becomes a lesson rather than a failure. Every victory, no matter how small, becomes a building block for greater success. This practice doesn't just help you in achieving goals, it transforms the way you live your life. Reflection is not about judging yourself harshly or criticizing your choices. It's about learning from your experiences, recognizing where you can improve, and celebrating the progress you've made. It's about treating yourself with kindness while also holding yourself accountable. When you reflect with compassion and a growth mindset, you become your own best coach, helping yourself make the best decisions moving forward. The goal is not to be perfect, but to be better than you were yesterday. Let's talk about how reflection can be applied to your daily life. Every action you take is an opportunity to assess whether it's moving you closer to your vision of success or pushing you further away. But you can't know that unless you take the time to reflect. After every task, after every decision, after every interaction, pause. Ask yourself, how did I do? Did my actions align with my goals? How did I feel about this moment? What did I learn? How can I improve next time? The answers to these questions don't need to be complex. Sometimes, it's as simple as realizing that a task could have been done more efficiently, or that you let your emotions get the best of you in a conversation. Maybe you notice that you took a positive action toward your goal, and you should celebrate that. The key is to become conscious of your choices and to recognize the power you have to change and grow. With reflection, you begin to understand the impact of every action, and with that understanding, you gain control over your trajectory. One of the most powerful aspects of daily reflection is that it gives you insight into your habits, both the ones that serve you and the ones that hinder you. When you reflect, you can ask yourself, what did I do today that pushed me forward? And just as importantly, what did I do that held me back? It's in these moments that you begin to notice patterns. Maybe you procrastinated on something that matters to you. Maybe you responded impulsively to a challenge instead of staying calm. Perhaps you wasted time on something that wasn't aligned with your goals. Recognizing these patterns is the first step in breaking old habits and replacing them with ones that lead you towards success. But it's not just about looking for problems. Reflection is also about acknowledging your strengths and successes. We often get so caught up in what we haven't done that we forget to celebrate what we have accomplished. Every day has its wins, no matter how small. Maybe you handled a tough situation with grace. Maybe you stuck to your plan, even when it was hard. Maybe you made progress on a project that's important to you. By reflecting on these moments, you reinforce your confidence and motivation. When you see the results of your efforts, you get the energy to keep going. But don't mistake reflection for complacency. It's easy to get comfortable once you've identified your strengths. But reflection also requires that you dig deeper, ask the tough questions, and be willing to grow. Don't let your victories blind you to areas that still need work. Acknowledge your progress, yes, but don't use it as an excuse to stop pushing yourself. The goal is not to be perfect, it's to always be improving. And this doesn't mean constantly beating yourself up or striving for unattainable ideals. It means knowing that you can always become more, do more, and achieve more with consistent effort. The beauty of reflection is that it helps you strike that balance, celebrating where you are while acknowledging the next step to take. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that they'll naturally get better at something over time. They think that with enough time, they'll reach the top, without realizing that they need to be intentional about their growth. Reflection forces you to be intentional. It forces you to stop, think, and make choices that align with your goals. If you want to grow, you must take the time to assess your progress. Without reflection, you're just moving through life, without a clear sense of direction. With reflection, every step becomes purposeful. The beauty of reflecting daily is that it keeps you accountable to yourself. When you take the time at the end of each day to evaluate your actions, you hold yourself to a higher standard. You become more conscious of how you spend your time, how you make decisions, and how you interact with others. Reflection creates a habit of self-awareness that becomes a powerful tool in your personal development. And remember, reflection isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about getting better a little bit at a time. There will be days when you slip up, days when you feel like you haven't moved forward at all. But if you keep reflecting, you'll always find a way to learn and improve. Reflection isn't about being perfect. It's about becoming better every day. So ask yourself right now, what did you do today that brought you closer to your goals? And what can you improve on tomorrow? Because your actions today are the foundation of the person you'll be tomorrow. Take control of your progress. Reflect, adjust, and become the best version of yourself.
Chapter 20. Seek feedback and use it to fuel your personal growth. The truth is, you cannot grow without feedback. You can't improve if you're not willing to hear the truth, even when it stings. Too many people avoid feedback because they're afraid it will hurt their ego or make them feel inadequate. But the real failure is in avoiding the very thing that could help you level up. The most successful people aren't the ones who get everything right on their own. They are the ones who actively seek feedback, take it in, and use it to propel their growth to new heights. You've probably heard the saying, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. But what if the way to get better is through someone else's perspective? What if the key to unlocking your next level is found not within you, but in the eyes and opinions of others? It's hard to see the flaws in your own work because you're so close to it. You're in the thick of it, so the big picture can be hard to grasp. This is where feedback comes in. It acts as the mirror you need to see yourself more clearly. Imagine this. You're driving down a road, but you don't have a rear-view mirror or any way to see if you're veering off course.
You can't expect to stay on track and make the right decisions without some sort of guidance. Feedback is your rearview mirror. It tells you if you're on the right path, if you need to adjust your speed, or if you've made a wrong turn and need to correct course. Without it, you're driving blind, hoping everything works out in the end. Now, here's the thing about feedback. It's not always easy to hear. It can be uncomfortable, it can challenge your beliefs, and it might even make you feel vulnerable. But the discomfort is where the growth happens. When you open yourself to feedback, you open yourself to real transformation. You give yourself permission to grow beyond the limitations of your own perspective. Most people avoid feedback because of fear. Fear that they'll be told they're not good enough. Fear that they'll be judged. But the irony is that it's only by confronting these fears that you can truly grow. The fear of feedback is often rooted in insecurity. You don't want to hear what's wrong because it makes you feel less than. But here's the truth: seeking feedback is a sign of strength, not weakness. It shows that you care about improvement and are willing to be uncomfortable in order to be better. If you want to become exceptional, you have to shift your mindset about feedback. You need to stop seeing it as criticism and start seeing it as a gift. Feedback is a tool for growth. It's the input you need to refine your skills, sharpen your mind, and get closer to your goals. The best people in any field, whether it's business, sports, music, or personal development, are the ones who ask for feedback, who seek out those honest, constructive perspectives, and who are willing to take action on what they learn. When you actively seek feedback, you become more aware of your strengths and weaknesses. You're not just walking around with blind spots. You understand where you need to improve, and you know where you're excelling. This self-awareness is key to personal growth because it gives you a clear map of where to focus your energy. Imagine knowing exactly where to direct your efforts instead of throwing yourself into everything at once, hoping something sticks. Feedback helps you focus on what matters most. Feedback isn't just valuable in the moment, it compounds over time. Every piece of advice, every critique, every compliment is another step forward in your journey. The more feedback you receive, the more you understand about how others perceive your work, your habits, your actions, and the more you understand, the more you can refine and adjust your approach. It's a continual process that propels you toward excellence. But not all feedback is created equal. You can't just accept anything from anyone. You need to seek feedback from people who have a genuine desire to help you grow, people who are invested in your success. You don't need validation from everyone. In fact, getting feedback from those who have already walked the path you want to take is far more valuable than the opinions of people who haven't. Find mentors, coaches, or peers who understand your journey and are willing to provide honest, constructive criticism that will help you improve. Once you've found the right sources of feedback, you must learn how to receive it. Sometimes feedback will come in the form of praise, and that's great. But often, it will come as constructive criticism, and that's where things can get tricky. Instead of getting defensive or dismissing the feedback, take a deep breath and process it. Remember, it's not about you as a person, it's about your actions or your approach. When someone gives you feedback, they're not attacking you, they're helping you see what you might be missing. The sooner you let go of your ego, the sooner you'll be able to see the value in their words. This leads to the next step, using the feedback to fuel your growth. Feedback is useless if you don't take action on it. It's not enough to just hear it and nod along. You have to do something with it. When someone tells you that your communication style is unclear, take the time to improve how you present your ideas. If someone points out that you're not prioritizing your tasks effectively, implement a system that helps you stay on track. Every piece of feedback is an opportunity to evolve, to take a step closer to your goals. And remember, feedback isn't a one-time thing, it's a continuous cycle. After you've made adjustments based on the feedback you've received, seek more feedback to see how you're doing. Have you improved? Are you on the right track? What's working and what needs more attention? This cycle of receiving, reflecting, and acting on feedback will keep you in a constant state of growth. At the end of the day, personal growth is about being open to learning. You can't grow if you think you already know it all. You can't improve if you're not willing to listen, reflect, and adapt.